Hello and welcome back to Serie, Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake and Matt.
You know what time it is?
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes, amazing.
We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Saturday.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie Spotlight. This is episode 140 and we're your hosts Matt
And Jake.
here to give you guys all the talking points about Matchday 4 in Serie A.
Another hectic match day of football. So far it's been impossible to predict. This week Udinese have gone first. Although it is impossible to predict, we will be bringing back our betting segment towards the end of this episode where our patrons have put together a bet and we'll be reacting to it and saying if we recommend this bet or not.
And stay tuned to see if we'll actually place that bet.
Yes.
See how much we agree or not. At least if you guys are going to bet, do be like our patrons because they put a lot of thought behind it. Seems like a lot of research was done. So at least do put that love and care into it.
Exactly. Lots of thought, little money. Do that.
I'm just going to do this. I know we said we will just mention it later on, but breaking news, De Rossi has been sacked from Roma after Roma are one of the teams that still haven't won a game this season. Out of 4 games, they're actually on 3 points. Fiorentina haven't won a game yet either. Bologna haven't won a game yet either. Milan are lucky that they faced up against Venezia, so they've gotten their first win of the season. But yes, guys, De Rossi has been sacked and Juric has been confirmed.
Not confirmed yet, but heavily rumored, I believe.
After he was caught spying on them last season.
In the stadium, chilling over there. It was a bit suspicious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it goes to show that this maybe wasn't so sudden after all.
Yeah.
You'll hear our takes on this in more detail when we're covering Roma in this episode.
Exactly. Goal of the week?
Goal of the week, yes. It was Retegui, actually.
Yes.
Thanks to Lookman. Everything that Lookman did was absolutely incredible.
Beautiful.
In that goal. Beautiful goal. The way he destroyed his man, I believe it was
I'm not sure who it was.
I think.
Oh, it was Beauvais.
Yes.
Beauvais.
Beauvais, he absolutely did him. He got between the two defenders perfectly, waited for that pocket of space to open up, whipped in the perfect ball to Retegui, who's just an animal in those situations.
He's so reliable.
Purely instinctive.
We're having a Retegui versus Scamacca debate before this, weren't we, bro?
Yes.
And we said that Retegui is just such a consistent poacher and bomber who perhaps isn't blessed with the same physicality and technique as Scamacca, but boy, does he play to his strengths, man.
Yes, and he's a natural and he gives you everything every game. And Scamacca doesn't always do that. Scamacca has been criticized by his coaches for his work
by
rate.
Every single coach.
Exactly, while Retegui is praised for his work
Exactly,
rate. So,
exactly. Shout out to my boys Cutrone. Cutrone scored a fantastic Gira goal into the far corner to put Como 2-0 up against Bologna. Illing Jr. scored the equalizer in that game actually with another beautiful Gira in the dying moments of the match. And the assister of our goal of the week, Ademola Lookman, actually scored a banger himself as well, leaving David De Gea looking a bit stupid.
Wrong-footed, I guess. Was he just collapsed?
He collapsed. He did the David De Gea thing where he just leaves one leg stretched out. But it was genius that he went for the near post over there. He did catch him off guard, but a little bit gullible maybe.
He's really calm in possession, even though he's moving really quickly and shiftily.
Yeah.
He makes the defenders panic, but Lookman would be calm and composed and he knows exactly what to do, man.
Exactly.
He's a really good player. Yeah. No wonder Atalanta were so desperate.
Hey, man, no wonder Gasperini's put his ego aside for this one. We had Champions League football last night as Liverpool, unfortunately, demolished Milan with the score of 3-1. I hadn't shouted goal that loudly since Milan won the Scudetto when Pulisic opened the scoring in minute 3. We are going to be discussing that game as we discuss Milan versus Venezia, since, Milan just destroyed Venezia over there. There isn't too much to talk about, just a little bit here and there.
Venezia pretty much beat themselves.
Exactly. We currently have Bologna against Shakhtar Donetsk on, so we'll keep you guys updated on how that is going.
Skorupski so far has saved the penalty.
Yeah, that's what happened while we were doing the intro.
Exactly.
I saw something was going on. Skorupski saved a penalty, throw back to 2 years ago, and I said he's the second best goalkeeper in the league, and everyone shat on me. Probably because he's not the second best goalkeeper in the league. Whatever, I had my moment. And tonight there's Manchester City playing against Inter. That is a huge one. If you guys see that we start rushing this episode, it's because
we want to watch it.
we want to watch it from beginning to end.
Exactly. It's currently 7:20. I mean, we're not gonna make it,
No.
but no problem.
No,
We have
but
it on
we've
yes,
got this.
no soundboard. I found out recently that Melita have a My TV app, so I'm recommending Melita even though they're not sponsored. TSN, we have it on our iPad over here, perfectly legally. Yeah, so if you hear us randomly shout goal, it means that City have scored against
To be fair, Go have the exact same thing.
the same package.
Go Melita, who's gonna offer us more money? Who's gonna offer us more
Yeah,
money?
yeah, come on.
Yeah, or Epic. Do Epic have the same thing? I don't know, Epic.
Shall we
You-
do
You tell us.
this week in Serie?
Go for it, sir.
So this week in Serie A, Udinese have gone top of the table after coming back from 2-0 down against Parma to win 3-2. It was absolutely emphatic.
Yes.
De Rossi has been sacked by Roma despite extending his contract by 3 years very, very recently. Petagna revealed his back tattoo. It's a child, presumably himself, looking up at the Duomo while a giant Batman looks over him. What do you think about this tattoo, bro?
I think it's really sick. I think it's really cool. No, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I'm sure there's some deep meaning to it. Of course, probably Batman being his hero, and little him looking at a dream that's maybe playing in Milan, which he had the opportunity to do,
He
I
did,
guess, at a point. Look, as long as his tattoo says a story and he holds it close to his heart, then fine.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
not
hilarious.
my cup of tea,
Yeah.
you know.
It's just hilarious how big Batman is. You know? It's like two random tattoos overlapping each other.
Batman the Duomo.
Tiani Reinders wore a 90s style Diego Armando Maradona t-shirt and received backlash from Milan fans, of course. I guess they must have run out of 90s style Riccardo Saponara t-shirts.
Respect. You say that Reinders looks like he works on a cruise ship, and I second that a lot.
It looks really clean, no?
It's
Really clean and proper.
the clean shave, the straight groomed hair, gelled, and
Pencil
the
stash.
smile.
Yes,
He has a real catering smile
It's
about
true.
him.
It's true. Absolutely. Albert Gudmundson's trial has started and he was photographed with his lawyer, and we can confirm that he will be going to prison. We'll put the picture of him in the snippet. He looks like a criminal.
Yes,
Straight up.
It looks like Goodmanson is this guy's lawyer. It's crazy.
Exactly.
He actually went to the trial with all his trainers because he was hoping to make the game against Atalanta, but no.
He had the leather jacket on, sunglasses, everything.
Madonna.
Tsitsipas, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Warmed up with the Genoa squad, and it turns out he's a Genoa fan. I mean, he's got quite the shot on him as well.
He does. Apparently became a Genoa fan because he used to use them on FIFA. He used to play at a young age, or something about the kit or the crest that he liked. But for those of you that don't know, Tsitsipas, he has been one of the best tennis players in the world for like the past 5 years, I would say. Casual tennis watcher, so don't take my word for that.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was personally. Casale scored an own goal on his full Bologna debut. Dobvik had to wait 6 minutes before VAR confirmed his first goal in a Roma shirt. Cagliari Napoli had to be stopped for a few minutes as both sets of fans started lugging flares, explosives and smoke bombs at each other. It turns out to piss off a Sardinian, all it takes is to call them a sheep.
Literally, that's
all
what they
Lebanon
did.
had. They had like banners with sheep like just doing that. They were fuming, bro.
I guess they call them like sheep shaggers, the same way the English call the
Sardinia
Welsh.
was a popular place for farming sheep, apparently.
So
I guess
they definitely call them sheep shaggers.
probably
For sure they call
the
them
whales
sheep
of Italy. Pulli the flamingo, the Cagliari mascot, joined the team to apologize to the fans after their loss to Napoli. It's hilarious.
Fucking brilliant.
Hilarious,
man.
like,
fucking
this
brilliant. There's just a
bloody
sad
massive-
flamingo
It's
standing there as the curva are giving him a talking to.
walking around like this.
He's one of my favorite mascots. He's brilliant.
Amazing. Mota scored a goal against Inter and hit them with the ne. Love that. Milan took on Venezia at home, and it only took a few seconds before Venezia started self-destructing, just literally stabbing themselves in the stomach.
Literally, they're just contributing to global warming, and the sea levels are going to rise and drown Venice.
Exactly. Stick to stopping the cruise ships. And we have a Who Has More Aura segment, by the way, from Nicholas Granda. Before we get into the serious stuff, let's have a bit of fun. So Nicholas Granda, one of our patrons, hit us with a very good little segment over here. Who has more aura? Let's start with Leao or Guevara.
Leao, because to me a part of aura is also swagger. It's how you carry yourself, it's your confidence, and for that I think Leao would have more aura.
Guevara's got that George Best kind of aura, that vintage retro kind of aura. He does have it, but it's very different to what Leao has. I do agree with you.
His aura is his brilliance on the pitch.
Yes, and his very classic footballer look.
Yeah,
exactly. With the shaggy hair, scruffy beard. While Leao exactly has got like the, he hits you with the after a good moment. He'll smile while playing. He's got a lot of aura. Yes. Lookman or Goodmanson?
Lookman.
Why?
Lookman. Firstly,
we don't know if he's innocent.
We don't know if Goodmanson's innocent. So I'm not gonna say if he did what they're saying. He definitely doesn't have that. That's L aura. Whatever the opposite of aura is, he has it. But Lookman scored a hat trick in a Champions League final against the undefeatable Bayer Leverkusen. Lookman.
Absolutely. Lookman's definitely got aura.
He also looks like The Weeknd.
He does. Saturday night, to be exact. Antonio Conte or Inzaghi? And I assume it's Inter's Inzaghi.
No. Conte, for sure.
Conte, I agree.
Conte, for sure.
Agree. Inzaghi doesn't
have aura at all.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening and you don't know what aura is, it's a meme that came about after Calafiori basically broke the internet, where everyone's saying, wow, this guy's got like that classic vintage Serie A aura, and it's kind of become a meme. And we're going along with it. Lapadula or Juric? Easy.
Lapadula
for sure.
Lapadula has this.
Yes, man. He's got
that's aura.
He's got the headband. He's got the shirt tucked in.
Yeah.
High shorts. Yeah.
He's cool as fuck. He's so cool.
Acerbi or Gatti?
I don't think either of them.
I don't think either of them
have aura.
But in a contest, I think Acerbi has more because of what he's been through. Gatti was a bricklayer.
Gatti was a bricklayer. I think Acerbi, his entire story is incredible, and I would be way more impressed if I definitely feel Acerbi more in a room than I would Gatti.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Yes. It has to be Acerbi. Lautaro or Vlahovic? I'm gonna go Lautaro here. Vlahovic is plain, man. Plain,
Vlahovic is cool.
Is he?
He's
You don't remember him at that like awards
no, he's
thing?
cool, he's funny, he's charming.
That didn't quite fit him.
But he's funny, he's charming. You saw Juve have been doing a lot of behind the scenes clips, like when Cope arrived, it was
yes, he's quite a vocal figure.
Yeah. I think Vlahovic has more aura than Lautaro, man.
Disagree.
I think Vlahovic has more aura than Lautaro.
Okay.
I think Lautaro is a better footballer, but I think Vlahovic has more aura.
Fair enough. We have Colpani or Calafiori.
Calafiori,
Mr. Aura himself. And then Zaccagni or Pellegrini.
That's a good one.
Zaccagni.
That's a good one. You go Zaccagni.
Yes.
Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Pellegrini.
Why? Is there a reason? Or is it just vibes?
No, I feel like he embodies Roma. I think nowadays when you think Roma, I know he's on a bit of a downward spiral. He's not the player that he used to be. I just feel like Pellegrini properly embodies Roma, and everyone looks up to him so much over there. Not that Zaccagni doesn't have the same thing with Lazio. Look at me putting so much explanation into aura. But Zaccagni has the worst tattoo I've ever seen, for example. And I also think Zaccagni is maybe a little bit more emotional.
But he's emotional, but I think it's auraful if players score and remain composed in their celebration. composed enough to like
Uh-huh.
look around. And Zaccagni's very like that,
I guess.
He'll stare you down
This one
after
was a
goal.
tough one because they're both cut from the same
Yes.
cloth.
It was a very difficult segment because we don't quite know what we're even talking about. But I think we should move on to the football.
Yes, let's do it. So firstly, don't forget to follow us, like our content, rate our content wherever you guys get your podcasts, subscribe to us on YouTube. That's the most important thing at the moment. We're growing over there. We've got video for those of you that are listening on Spotify and still don't know. Whilst we definitely encourage you to follow our Instagram, we will be getting our Instagram back on the 20th. We're still up and running. We're just restricted. It seems like we've been hit with a warning. We're not too sure why.
It seems we're bots.
It seems to
our
think we're
behavior is
bots.
repetitive or
We've done no like repetitive actions or anything of the sort. So quite sure it's a mistake from their end. But if it's a mistake from our end, then we'll learn from it and we'll make sure that it doesn't get taken down, because we couldn't post that De Rossi got sacked. We can't post announcing this episode, which is a shame because Jake put so much work into the artworks. But anyway, fuck it.
The fantasy shout out, by the
Yes.
way, shout out to Pieter, who has maintained top spot in our fantasy league. Shout out to David, who's a close second, and Matthias, who's a close third.
Yes.
These three guys know their football very, very well. And Matteo's fourth, the Premier League fan, but he's a seasoned fantasy football player.
Absolutely.
Okay, bro, let's get the show on the road.
Patrons?
Patrons!
Let's kiss our patrons.
Oh god, I don't have the list. We'll do it after the goal show.
Okay. Very cool. After the goal show.
The rundown.
After the rundown. Okay, so the order in which we're going to be discussing these matches, we're going to start off with Milan 4, Venezia 0, Milan's first win of the season. Both teams entered this game without a win, but Milan managed to put 4 past them in the first half and then just sat back and had quite a chill evening over there. Monza 1, Inter 1. We thought Monza scored the winner through Dani Mota's amazing header in the 80-something minute, only for Denzel Dumfries to get the equaliser close to the 90th, and Inter get a very valuable point over there. As Monza looked a lot better after the international break, Nesta ball is starting to show in this team. Cagliari 0, Napoli 4. Napoli with, Conte with Kvara and Lukaku just at this point in time seem quite unstoppable. They're so vicious, they're so naughty, they're so dominant. And they destroyed Cagliari to the point that Cagliari had to apologize to their fans, and Cagliari still haven't won a game.
And it's always a tough outing in Sardinia, so that's by no means an easy result.
Yeah, absolutely. Cagliari, don't get it twisted. Before the second goal, which took place in the second half, Cagliari were still in this game. One of my favorite games of this weekend was Atalanta 3, Fiorentina 2. We saw some incredible goals. Fiorentina were leading the game twice, almost got cocky with it as Moise Kean was hitting us with the griddy, only for Atalanta with Ademola Lookman in the team to absolutely kill them. And then if it comes to a scrap, then Atalanta are absolutely going to batter you. They didn't batter them, but they won 3-2. Empoli 0, Juve 0 showed that Juve naturally still have a lot to work on. Motta did decide to field all of the new faces, pretty much. There was Kalulu, there was Douglas Luiz, there was Nico Gonzalez. So naturally, maybe they weren't as fluid as they typically are. Vlahovic had a bit of a stinker, but Empoli defended brilliantly, and Empoli are still undefeated.
And they remained in the game till the end, forcing Gatti on a pretty much goal line clearance.
They could have won it. Don't get it twisted. Genoa 1, Roma 1. Roma thought they won the game, and had they won the game, maybe De Rossi would still be there. They didn't manage to defend their very early lead. They didn't manage to capitalize on multiple chances that they had, and Gilardino's men, always in the game against these big teams. They love a game against a big team. They barely lose against the big teams. Managed to get a Coni De Winter header in the 96th minute to make it 1-1. And De Rossi has been sacked just months after signing a 3-year contract. Lazio 2, Verona 1. All the action took place in the opening 20 minutes of this match. Lazio managed to get back, and they managed to maintain that result for the rest of the game quite cleanly. Parma were beating Udinese 2-0, and they lost 3-2. 2, it was a brilliant display by Udinese once they actually got back into the match, but I do have to say Parma's defending was atrocious.
Absolutely. And their discipline as well, another red card for them.
Yes.
This time it was Keita.
Yes, absolutely. Como 2, Bologna 2. Now, these small sides have looked way better after the international break because they stayed together. Como were playing fantastic football and were winning 2-0 against Bologna, but Bologna had some moments of, well, they made some good substitutions. Castro looked really good when coming on. He actually scored the first goal and did he assist the second one?
He did really well. I believe he played it to Willing, to be honest, though. He played it in the... He played it to him,
Yeah, but Willing
so.
Jr. had still had so much to do, and he did brilliantly over there to get his first goal in a Bologna kit. And the last game we're going to be covering is Torino 0, Lecce 0, as once again Vanja Milinkovic-Savic is showing us he is the keeper this season. He
won the Man of the Match award again, posed like this.
It's hilarious. The man has zero emotion. To be fair, even his brother Sergei lacked emotion.
That's true, absolutely. Yes, and here are our patrons. Thank you very much to Ed, Alan, Andy, Lena, Jose, Mintoff, Mike, Matteo, Matthias, Luca, Anthony, Michael, David, Kyle, Andrew Batman, Slooge McNoodle, Tim Campbell, Tanino, Batman Choco Loco, Joey D, Tony, David, Dequan, Keanu, Tyson, Stephen, Robert, Kurt, Pieter, Sal, Luke, Steve, Mattia, Nicholas, Sean, Nicholas again, and lately you became our patron. This is the list from the website, so it turns out if we didn't read this out before, we missed out a few. So apologies if we haven't been calling your name. Please do tell us, guys. It's the least we could do.
Very true. We actually had a bunch of local patrons over last night, and it was amazing. We were watching Milan Liverpool. Whatever. But a great group of people, man. Just like-minded people who just want to talk football. I love that. Absolutely. But shall we start things off with Milan 4, Venezia 0, and subsequently also discuss Milan-Liverpool a bit, bro?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Milan were coming off a 2-2 away draw to Lazio, while Venezia were coming off a 1-0 home loss to Torino. Both teams entered this match winless in their first 3, with particular pressure on Milan and Fonseca. Abraham got the start, with Morata and Jovic not fully fit. Calabria, Ciao, Ben Nasser and Florenzi were out due to injury. Ben Nasser actually has quite a lengthy injury, looking at between 3 to 4 months out of the game once again. Venezia missed Bjarki Bjarkason, who is the Icelandic version of White Iverson by Post Malone, but had Oristanio and Buzio back in the starting 11. Milan looked a bit more like a 4-3-3 in this game, with Manjan in goal and a backline of Emerson Royal, Gabbia, Pavlovic and Theo Hernandez, a midfield 3 of Loftus-Cheek, Fofana and Reinders. Reinders a bit more offensive, but they were swapping. Him and Ruben Loftus-Cheek were swapping, but Reinders in the pocket, definitely the way to go. Leao out on the left, Pulisic out on the right, and Tammy Abraham up front. For Venezia, it looked like a 5-4-1 to me. Jorinen in goal and a backline of Candela. Oh my god. Candela, Shinktien. It's like Etienne with a bit of shink to it. Svoboda, Idzes and Zampano. In the midfield, they had Oristanio, Duncan, Caviglia and Buzio. Caviglia naturally Nicolucci. And Poyampalo, Poyampom up front. Now, the way the game went is Theo scored the opening goal within 89 seconds, assisted by a backheel pass from Rafael Leao. The duo are back, and a very interesting celebration that took place because Leao literally put his finger in Theo's butt.
Yes, I forgot about that. That would have been a good This Week in Serie segment.
I think they've discovered the G-spot respect, guys. Good to see these guys linking up. This is the response Fonseca was after. At the end of the day when he decided to bench them against Lazio. Fofana got Milan second from a Pulisic corner, initially thought to be bundled in by Matteo Gabbia, who shamelessly claimed it, but was later awarded to Fofana, who scored his first goal in Milan colours. Yay! Pulisic netted Milan's third from the penalty spot after Jorinen fouled Tammy Abraham following Reinders' shot. Abraham converted Milan's fourth goal from another penalty just 4 minutes after the last one as Shinktien fouled Leao, which was confirmed via VAR. Zampano's goal for Venezia was ruled out by VAR due to a foul by Nicolosi on Loftus-Cheek, for which he received a second yellow card and was sent off for the foul that led to the disallowed goal. Good performance from Milan over here. They definitely needed that result. They needed a win for Fonseca's sake, for the team's confidence as well with Liverpool and the derby. What did you make of this game overall? Is it something Milan fans should be excited about?
So I found it quite difficult to draw conclusions from this game because, as we mentioned in the intro, Milan didn't really beat Venezia. Venezia literally, like, there were two errors in the opening minute to lead to that first goal, right? One from the defender who lost the ball immediately to Theo, and then from Jorinen who spilled it at his near post between his legs. From that point on, Venezia's game plan changed entirely from the get-go. So Milan didn't even have to really face their plan A, you know. Judging from the early lead and the mistakes that were made and everything, I find it difficult to be as content as I should be with a 4-0 victory against anyone, to be honest. But I guess the reality is that sometimes games like this will happen and you just need to make sure that you blow the team out of the park, and Milan did that. So I guess I feel normal after this game. I feel decent.
I think if a game was like this for Milan, then Milan would be one of the best teams in the world. Why? Because they can show their strengths, which is how they can attack, which is the wing plays. Reinders in the pocket looked very good. But the second that they are faced with an attack, and you saw this as well, Venezia managed to capitalize, only for it to get called back due to a horrific foul, by the way, which was on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Speaking of, actually, let me say this. So it was our friend's birthday, and we were over, and we ate pot cake. Yeah, I guess.
This guy's birthday cake was made of weed. Pot,
and it was just incredibly strong, incredibly fucking strong. And we were watching Milan Venezia, and every foul Jake saw on a Milan player is like, oh my god. He's done. When the foul on Loftus-Cheek, Jake was like, you saw his ankle, bro, it snapped. His ankle completely snapped off his leg. Oh my god, Loftus-Cheek broke his leg, bro. at a point, Tammy Abraham went down. He was grabbing his toes, like, and stretching
He looked
them.
really injured, though. He looked badly injured.
Jake's like, that's it. Morata and Jovic up front for the next 3 months. Fuck. He's done, and Jovic wasn't even called up for the Champions League. Just the most paranoid Milan fan in the world. You became.
It's because, bro, us Milan fans are absolutely traumatized.
Yes,
the worst case scenario happens every season, injury-wise. Like, there's a big game boom injury beforehand. And how typical would it have been if we lost Abraham or Loftus-Cheek right before Liverpool and Inter? It would have been quite typical, no?
Yeah.
But yes, I was seeing shit. I saw Loftus-Cheek's ankle snapping off. Literally. Like I saw it.
It was a bad foul, to be fair.
It was really bad.
It wasn't far from that.
But big boy, strong.
Yes. So far, so good. I have to highlight that I really like the move of Reinders playing closer to goal. I just think it gives Milan a way more niftier, nimble player that can play closer to goal. He has a chrach every now and then. He's got a good shot on him. Only thing is sometimes he tunnel visions, unfortunately. So we saw it against Liverpool as well, where he often could have played in a teammate, but he tries to do everything himself. Very tough night for Jorinen, who sucked in this game as well.
And it was surprising because he's been quite impressive so far this campaign.
But you know what it is? He dives a month before the shot is taken. And that's not a keeper that typically reads where the ball is going. It's a keeper that tries his luck. It's the way people play in five-a-sides. You know what I mean? They just try to get in front of the ball no matter what they can do.
And he's 31 years old now, so he should be doing better than that, to be honest.
Is it Stankovic's son?
Yes, they do.
Give him a shot, huh?
Maybe. I mean, again, Jorinen had an off game, but he had moments where he saved them. this season. So yes, and we'll see how he recovers from this. When it comes to Milan in general, man, when things are going well, like when Milan get an early lead against a team that's suffering, or they're 2-0 up against a team, that's when they start to pull out these miraculous movements, these miraculous moments, and they look really inspired when they're ahead and things are going well. When things are difficult, Milan's players hide, man. There's no leader in this team, and I'm saying this simply because of the Liverpool game. Milan were beating Liverpool. They got an early lead. Just a week before, Liverpool lost to Forest. Forest played a low block. Liverpool couldn't penetrate, and they kept hitting them on the counter attacks with their speed. Milan have the perfect team to operate like this. You know, low block, and then hit with Theo, with Leao, with Pulisic, whatever. Milan have a lot of speed up front, even Morata. You know, Reinders. Milan could have done a lot of damage. That early lead could have been utilized well, but instead it feels like it was wasted because Milan kept pushing up and allowing these gaps in behind. And let's not even talk about the lapses in corners, man. And corners have been a problem for how long?
It's the same. It's the same problems Milan had under Pioli that they have now. That nothing has been fixed in this team. Moving forward, Pioli was great at going forward, struggled against the low block. We haven't really gotten to see Fonseca much up against the low block. I'm sure maybe that is something that an improvement point that he might bring to the team, like against Torino when Milan got 2 goals back. But otherwise, it seems like the struggles Milan have had last season have carried on to this one and have not gotten worse. So 2 corners. One of them, Magnan, went out horribly, and in the other one, I felt like he could have come out.
Both of them were right in front of him. I mean, granted, the marking was terrible, but as a goalkeeper, I feel like you need to command your area. That 6-yard box, is it?
Yeah.
That box needs to be yours.
The keeper's.
Exactly. You go out, you punch it. You know, you claim it. You've got an advantage when it comes to reach. You can use your hand.
Yeah.
Jump up. If someone blocks you, it's a foul.
He totally misread the first one. It seemed like he tried to go behind the I think it was Konate who scored the first goal. It seemed like he went to punch the ball behind Konate. Like, of course, Konate is going to jump up and get to the ball first. Why are you going behind him?
Judged it, and then he probably second-guessed himself on the other one moments later.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, I'm not going to make the same mistake, so he didn't even go out. Yes,
exactly.
But Milan have a lot of work to do defensively, and the problems are literally in every department.
Winning the ball back. Milan. Winning the ball back is the biggest thing.
It's not just that, though. It's even when Milan are on the ball, there are no real intricate patterns of play. You see Milan playing down the right-hand side. They forced all their play down the right. Leao and Theo were pedestrian on the left for a big chunk of this Liverpool game. Fonseca was asked afterwards about it. They're like, why did you play down the right so much when your best players are on the left? He said, because we're trying to pull players out so we can switch play over to the left. But if it's not working, man, give the best players the ball. You know? I don't know. I guess it's easy to sit here and to criticize. I mean, Fonseca for me isn't even the biggest problem when it comes to this team, because Fonseca was just a guy who was hired. He's got his philosophy. If we give him time, his philosophy will literally improve. Obviously, things will get better. The problem is that the ambitions that the club put out there don't really match the person that they put in charge of the team. There's a lack of vision in the future, and the players don't come out in these games and demonstrate themselves as leaders. There's a lack of leadership on the pitch and off the pitch as well for this Milan side.
Look, I guess if we're going to look at players that have a good attitude and that are somewhat leaders, there's obviously Morata, who at this point is a bit more of a figure than an effective player.
He's a silent leader, Morata.
Pulisic to me is the leader at the moment of this team. The fact that he went out there, brilliant. Something I really liked about his goal in the opening 3 minutes. I fucking love Pulisic, man, at the moment. He's so good.
He's good.
And he's never caused any problems. The way that he was bursting forward down the right. By the way, Tsimikas is the Emerson Royal of left backs in the Premier League. He was abysmal. I can't believe he's left footed. I saw him use his left. It was bad. He was shit. He was out of position all the time. But Pulisic charged forward. Brilliant finish into the far corner. A bullet. Alisson couldn't keep it out. But I saw him wait look up to see if there's a better option. I'm like, oh no, he's fucked it. He's like, no, brilliant finish into the far corner. But the fact that he takes time to look up, check if there's a teammate in a better position, and then strike it when so many of our players just, I have to finish this move off myself because I've gone this far. The Reinders, the Theos, the Leaus, who's the CEO of that. But I hadn't shouted that much for a goal since Milan won the Scudetto. I think Pulisic is the only thing to write home about so far about this Milan team. Against Liverpool, I think we got to see for the first 15 minutes what it could be under Fonseca if he thrives. That suffocating press high up the field, not letting the team play, and taking your chances and really dominating a game. But once you get past that press, once you bypass the press, which could be a long ball from the goalkeeper, it is a clear disaster. A disaster. So Fofana's brought in to win the ball back. Did you see him win the ball back?
Not really. The first half was better than the second, but not really the profile I expected, to be honest. For now, but once again, this is, again, it's early, right? It feels a bit early to be making claims like this. I mean, he could grow into it, Fofana. He could change. I mean, what coach is going to revolutionize a team in 4 games, after a pre-season? It's literally impossible.
But however, he's on the opposite of that.
Yes. Some of these problems are problems that have persisted since the Pioli days. The corners, the lack of leadership, for example, isn't something you can teach. I mean, like, okay, at one point you literally see all the players slugging back of Milan slowly making their way back, and you see Fofana trying, like he's literally applauding, but to the point that he's almost mocking his teammates, like, come on, like, move it. And he's not. He's been there for 4 games, like. And then you see Leao just, walking back. Theo, composed, but like
not a sold out San Siro either. It's a whole thing at the moment. San Siro wasn't sold out. There were so many. Like we could have been there. Thank God we weren't.
Let's just hope that Fonseca can get these guys together. In the league, at least Milan have turned their fortune around. In the league, 4-0 against Venezia is a good result. Inter are coming up next
Sunday.
Let's hope that the game plan is different against Inter, because if you go up and you play a high line against Inter, you're going to lose 4-0.
Yeah. Manyan is injured,
but he'll try to make the Inter game.
He'll try, and then he'll make it because he's the fucking guy, man. Manyan went down injured twice against Liverpool. Actually, 3 times, but twice holding his leg. I have no idea where that happened. Now I know there could be injuries that just come out of nothing kind of thing. And it could be. But oh my God, man. It just seemed like he didn't want to fucking be there, man, Manyan. Like every time he's just going down to the ground and oh my God. And then a classic collision that keepers face so much. And he stays down, banging on the floor. He has to be substituted. We have to bring on a 19-year-old goalkeeper.
We've seen legs snap and people not even smacking the grass after that. I mean, the thing is,
he could be hurt, whatever. Yes, but he has a certain element of showmanship, man.
Yes, exactly. He's dramatic. He's very dramatic, and he gives me a heart attack every time. It's like, I'm injured, no, I'm fine. I'm injured, no, I'm fine. Out for 2 months. It's like, what the hell are you doing to me, bro?
Madonna.
You're a goalkeeper. I've never
honestly
mentioned a goalkeeper with an injury record like Manyan. If you can think of one, drop it in the comments below, because I genuinely can't think of a keeper who's as injury prone
2 months a season, man.
Manyan. But
I just want to say one more thing. Oh my God, do I like Tammy Abraham in the system? I think he looks really good. He comes in deep, similar to the way Zirkzee does, and he's really good at beating a man one-on-one. Yeah. He's really good there. Of course, I know him as Fires. Haven't seen it yet in a Milan shirt, but we'll wait and see. So far, he looks like the best option to me.
I like him as well. I think he's pretty good. He shows a lot of desire. He's technically able. He's big. He's imposing. He's fast. He looks like a very well-rounded striker. And so far, with Salamaker's injury, it seems like Milan have actually got the right end of the deal so far.
That's true. I was going to say one more thing, because of course we mentioned the derby, and we mentioned that Manyan is in doubt for the derby, and so is DeMarco. DeMarco's probably out of the derby.
Yes, he is.
So to all my betting people, Carlos Augusto to contribute to a goal. because that's what happens.
Yeah, probably. Let's move on to the next one, bro.
Yes, sir.
By the way, shout out Torriani, who made his debut against Liverpool, a goalkeeper who showed a lot of promise in pre-season.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see. Not hopefully, we will definitely get to see him more.
Absolutely.
Monza 1, Inter 1, bro.
Yes.
This is a shock result, as Inter they definitely rested players for the Champions League clash against Manchester City, which is happening
For
tonight,
sure.
right? Absolutely. In fact, they lined up with Sommer in goal in their 3-5-2 formation, with Carlos Augusto, De Vrij, and Pavard at the back. Notice the lack of Bastoni.
Mm-hmm.
Di Marco, Mkhitaryan, Aslani, Frattesi, and Darmian in the middle. Notice the lack of Barella and Çalhanoğlu. And something we didn't really see last season, by the way, this rotation. He would play everyone all the time.
It's true.
Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram played together up front. For Monza, it was a 3-4-2-1 formation with Turati in goal, Izzo, Pablo Mari, and Carboni at the back, with Pereira and Kyriakopoulos on the flanks, with Pessina and Bondo in the middle. Maldini and Caprari played behind Milan Juric. The unavailable players for Monza were Birindelli, Churia, and Cranio, while Buchanan is still out for Inter. Now, in the first half, Inter controlled possession from the outset, with Frattesi and Mkhitaryan driving play in the midfield. Their build-up was quite smooth, but they struggled to break through Monza's compact and well-organized defense. Thuram and Lautaro found it difficult to penetrate the defensive block, with most of Inter's efforts coming from long-range shots from outside the box, or simply just being deflected, blocked crosses before getting into the box. Monza, on the other hand, were content to sit back and absorb the pressure. They focused on maintaining their defensive shape and look for opportunities to counter-attack. Their limited offensive forays, however, were effectively dealt with by Inter. I was very impressed by Monza's bravery when it came to building play from the back, bro, for the entire game. So brave.
Inter were getting close.
They were getting close to winning.
Very close. Thuram, particularly.
Hey, absolutely. Then the second half saw a more dynamic approach from Inter. Particularly after Dumfries was introduced, to be honest. He's so fast and direct on that right-hand side. He just added an extra dimension to their attack. Despite creating several opportunities, Inter did struggle with their finishing, managing only 2 shots on target throughout the entire match. This was a major issue for Inzaghi, especially when Monza managed to capitalize on one of their rare chances through a well-executed counter-attack, and what a header that was by Mota.
Yes.
Brilliant goal.
Fantastic.
Brilliant goal. Another player who's got big moments up his sleeve, Mota.
100%.
He loves these moments, man.
100%.
He's got that jazzy factor in him.
He had it against Milan last year as well. He hit us with the na, bro. It was a disaster.
That was the OG one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Inter responded with an equalizer, but they could not find a winner. The equalizer coming through Denzel Dumfries, of course, who just was probably the most dangerous player when coming on.
Good ball for that as well. Crossfield, low-driven cross by Carlos Augusto.
Yes, who's been very good, Carlos Augusto.
He started off as a left centre-back, but of course with DeMarco's injury, he had to bomb forward quite a bit. Or was he just simply allowed to bomb forward? Yes, because DeMarco picked up his injury after the game. He wasn't actually subbed out.
Look, this is a game that Inter dominated. It's interesting, right? Because I think Serie this season is tougher than it was last season, for example. And I feel like that now that Inter have got their second star, they want to do something special in the Champions League.
I wholeheartedly
you know what
agree.
I mean? Because this
Inzaghi
rotation didn't happen last season.
He wouldn't have done this last season.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have.
Absolutely. And yes, I think it might cost them a few points in the long run, because these teams have improved, man, especially after the break. Some of these teams have got their stuff together already. Like Como and Monza look like a different team completely to the first opening game.
Particularly, I think Monza looked like a relegation team before this game. But in this game, I was really, really impressed by them. Particularly, like you said, the way they were building the ball out from the back, the way they were absorbing pressure. They had good passages of play as well, moving forward. I was really impressed by them. Defensively very sound as well. Inter weren't getting a sniff closer to goal. But I also think that Inter haven't really caught a break, have they? As in the sense that there were obviously the Euros in the summer period, and Inter started their pre-season quite early with the amount of commitments they had as champions naturally, which could lead to a certain amount of burnout. These footballers are only human beings at the end of the day, and that could be playing a factor as well. I think it's good to see that Inzaghi is open to rotation and the fact that he's focusing a bit more on the Champions League, because I really do think that Inter can compete with some of the best in the Champions League.
Absolutely.
So I don't hate that idea by him.
Their team is deep, man. I think it's even deeper than the last time they made it to the final.
No, and more they have more quality depth. Zielinski can come in. Meditaremi, fuck whoever's saying Meditaremi didn't have a good season last season, because he literally told the team, I'm not extending my contract. And he was between Milan and Inter that entire time in negotiations with them. So of course he didn't score double figures last season, but the season before that, and the season before that, he was among the top scorers of the bloody league. So he is an excellent option. Whereas last year they had Arnautovic and they couldn't really do much over there. Of course, and then looking across the team as well in defense, they've got so much depth. The fact that Acerbi and Bastoni were on the bench over here, and then you see their starters as Pavard, De Vrij, and Carlos Augusto. Quality depth.
Yes, absolutely. And
Bissek as well.
I feel like
on
this
the bench.
season we're going to be seeing a hell of a lot of rotation, because of course this Champions League format has introduced more games, right? And harder games as well.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes,
Champions
Thursday
League football
nights are no
bi-weekly.
longer Europa nights. They are now Bologna almost scored. Also, yes, interesting to see Lautaro coming off in the 56th minute. Not quite fit yet. He'll come into his stride. But the thing is, they're getting away with it because Thuram's on such good form. This game he had a bit of a stinker, but he's been on such good form lately, and they've got quality players to bail them out in case they don't show up. The likes of Barella and Çalhanoğlu and Di Marco can really create something out of nothing. I'm very excited for the game against Manchester City to see what Inter can do.
Absolutely, man.
And to see how they'll approach the rest of the season with the rotation.
For sure. And also just fucking Sunday, man.
I'm nervous, man.
Sunday. I'm gonna get piss blackout drunk like Monday. I'm telling you, Zach, bro, I'm not coming in on Monday, man.
It's just
no matter what happens.
When was the last time you were hopeful for a derby?
Oh, 2 seasons ago.
Literally,
2 seasons ago. No, Inter are a different animal. They're one of the most impressive teams that I've seen. I've watched Milan face tough opponents in the past. There was a point Juve, it always seemed like it would go their way. They would never, even when Milan were going through the banter era and playing prime Barcelona, I still, many of the times, didn't see Milan get fucking dominated the same way that they get dominated against Inter.
Because Milan have always been a team that had a lot of heart, and even during the banter era of Milan, there were players that Milan meant the world to them, man. Bonaventura, Kučka, these guys, man. They didn't want to lose.
Robinho with the rainbow flick, I remember, bro.
They didn't want to lose, and they lost a lot because obviously Milan were in a bad situation, but they always left their heart on the pitch. And that's why Milan fans remember the banter era as a tough time, right? A very dark period. But in reality, many Milan fans enjoyed the banter era, like watching the players, the characters that were on the pitch, the
a lot of my heroes, a lot of my Milan heroes come from the banter era, because of course, we saw one of the greatest periods of Milan ever in history. But such a large chunk of our lives was consumed by the banter era. That like Bonaventura, I could get a tattoo of him. You know what I mean?
Yes. So it just sucks nowadays that you watch a Milan game and it feels like you're more upset about the result than the players on the pitch.
Yeah, but particularly against Inter, because Inter are fantastic at destroying Milan. They have their number all day, every day. This is huge for Fonseca's future. This game in particular, we're already seeing names being mentioned. That fucking guy of
Sarri and
Terzic, who finished 5th in the Bundesliga last season. Thank God Ibra recommended him. Let's listen to him.
Cheers, bro.
Shall we go to Cagliari 0, Napoli 4?
Yes.
Cagliari coming off a 1-0 away loss to Lecce, whilst Napoli are coming off a 2-1 home win against Parma. Lukaku got his first start for Antonio Conte's side following his debut versus Parma, or his debut goal versus Parma, as Gvara shook off an ankle knock. I love this. Every week, Gvara has shaken off an injury so far. What a guy. The Sardinians missed Prati and started Gaetano against his old club. They're like, yes, Ruolo del Lex in this one. It was a 3-4-2-1 formation for Nicola's men with Scuffè and goal and the backline of Luperto, Mina and Zappa, Augello on the left, Azio on the right, a double pivot of Deola and Marin, with Gaetano and Luvumbo playing behind Piccoli. It was also a 3-4-2-1 for Conte's men with Meret in goal and the backline of Di Lorenzo, Rahmani and Buongiorno, Mazzocchi out on the right, Spinazzola out on the left and double pivot of Anguissa and Lobotka, with Politano and Gvara playing behind Lukaku. So Di Lorenzo opened the scoring for Napoli with a massively deflected shot. The ball hit Jeremina and wrong-footed Scuffè, giving the Italian his second goal in 4. I'm seeing all the hype because last season he scored 1 in 39 games, but 2 in 4 games this season. This was an own goal if I've ever fucking seen one, man.
Absolutely.
In the 25th minute, play was halted for about 7 minutes due to crowd trouble. As they're literally throwing explosives at each other, man.
You're watching the game and you just hear it's like, what the hell is going on?
Literally. I think there's some beef between these clubs geographically. I think Sardinia, obviously. I think Napoli also like to poke fun at the fact that they are Italian and they so teams tell Napoli, you're too south, you're not Italian, you're not Italian. And then Napoli are like being bullied, and then they look at the Sardinians, they look at the Sicilians.
We're not Italian, then what are
you?
Who
the fuck are these? There's a bit of geographical beef over there.
Yeah.
And then the second half, Meret, bro, made some mental saves. There was one from a Luperto header, another one from a Piccoli header. And then when Marin hit the crossbar, he tipped that, bro. Marin's bullet from outside the box, he tipped that onto the crossbar.
Yeah, man. That was against you on our front. But yeah, go on.
Whatever, man. What the fuck is it? Gvara doubled Napoli's lead after being played through very well by Lukaku and a clean finish by him. And just over here, when that went in, it seemed like Cagliari just lost every other gear that they had. And then Lukaku scored Napoli's third, set up by Gvara after Scuffè's poor pass out from the back was intercepted. It was a nightmare at this point. Napoli, they brought on the boys, they brought on McTominay and Billy Gilmore in the 74th minute, and they were both just dying to be there. The amount of hustle that they put in while they were in there, bro, just constantly wanting to be on the ball. And then
just brown nosing Conte. They know what he likes.
But bro, every single goal. Why is this? Conte, he seems like such a twat. But why is it that whoever plays for him, they score a goal, they run up to Conte and they celebrate with him? Because he's our villain, and I love him as a villain character. He'll never be our hero. He's close to Milan. We kind of felt weird about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with the villain is someone's hero at the end of the day, man.
That's it.
And Buongiorno scored a 4th goal for Napoli with a header from a nearest corner, sealing the 4-0 victory in the 94th minute. Buongiorno's first goal for Napoli.
What a thumping, man. Where did Pulli play this game? Pulli the Flamingo?
Left outside. Brilliant.
But I'm so first of all, when it comes to Napoli, I'm so impressed at how much more fluid they look from the opening game. Even the fullbacks, it's like they've understood their role better now. Of course, it's only going to get better. And what a difference a reference point up front makes, man. This is something we mentioned last episode as well. But Lukaku, man. Holding the ball up, I think he's second to none.
I think he's the
next
best
level
at doing that in that position, and I have to say, as in, like, I still stand by the fact that I don't think Lukaku gets into many teams when there's another great option over there. But under Antonio Conte, he is the fucking guy.
He is, yes, he loves
the guy.
Him. He loves him, and he requested him personally, makes him feel important. He approached this perfectly, I think, Conte. He brought him in, and it was clear that he was going to do well, simply from how much Conte wanted him. And we know Lukaku, the kind of personality he's demonstrated to have. this would mean a lot to him, that someone believes in him.
Yeah,
you know?
it'd be very emotional. And emotional could mean that you're often a big baby, but when you're a big baby, it means that you're genuinely hurt sometimes, and you just need someone that supports you, someone that understands you. And I think not only that, but he knows. What are you laughing at?
You're talking from experience.
But he knows how to. I think he knows how to trigger Lukaku as well. He knows how to get him to stop being a
What,
baby.
do you think it
and
hit his hat off?
It's shit like that. Shit like that. He knows how to get an animal.
I think he does that with the whole team in general. No, he kind of creates the whole Mourinho us against them kind of thing, the underdog kind of thing, you know. And that's what we said from the get-go. You know, Conte's going to arrive at this team and tell them that everyone is mocking you.
Yeah,
Everyone's mocking
exactly.
you. You're the worst title defense in the history of the league.
And then they lost 3-0 against Verona on the opening day.
Exactly.
My God, Conte must have low-key enjoyed that. Great depth in Napoli's squad as well.
That Neres comes on and terrorizes everyone.
Neres comes on. There's Mattias Oliveira, McTominay and Gilmore nowadays as well. And a couple of players that aren't coming to mind at the moment, but they do have some great squad depth. I mean, they don't have Champions League to play in, which is going to be a huge factor for them. Even for me, perhaps a good run in the Coppa, because they are looking very dominant. They're in second place right now. That's 3 consecutive wins for them. They'd be top of the league if it weren't for Udinese. And yeah, look, I don't think Cagliari started off this game poorly. I don't think Cagliari... Now, of course, if you lose a game 4-0 in your own stadium, yes, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, especially you get blown out of the water like that. Of course, you have to face the fans and take a bit of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think they had a bad first half.
They were in it until the 66th, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
Which
and
isn't
then
bad. Yeah.
They were absolutely demoralized because they were trying so hard, and then the 66th Napoli just seemed to score so easily, and they were pretty much down and out by then, man.
Some things I don't like about this Cagliari team is, so first of all, Piccoli is so limited, man. He's so limited as a player.
I like Piccoli, man.
He does, his movement is good, and his, you know, even his form, the way he jumps for a header, you'd think he's gonna nail it, but he's so wayward and a little bit clumsy at times. I think he'll be okay for smaller games, but in games where he's not going to get a lot of service and when you need someone to hold the ball up, like this game, he's simply not good enough, and I think they might be better off exploring a different option for games like this, to be honest.
I think they should explore a completely different profile.
In general.
To be honest, with Luvumbo, who could definitely whip in a ball for him, and Gaetano as well, Piccoli is well suited as a profile, but I don't trust him, man. I don't think he's consistent. Quite frankly, I don't think he's very good. Piccoli. I think he has his strengths, and sometimes he's on a run of good form, but he's never struck me as a great striker.
23 years old at the moment. We'll see how he develops. I wish him the best because I like the kid, but leaves a lot to be desired. We saw Zortea coming on this game. Gave us a few glimpses of what he can do, which is interesting. Kingston Mutandwa came on as well. The promising.
Shout out.
Yeah, the promising youngster who was poached from the same place that Luvumbo was poached from. But yes, we'll see. On to the next for Cagliari. Come on.
Yes,
Head
sir.
up.
Yes, sir. Come on, Sardinians.
Yes, it's mine. So the next one
Bologna
is...
Shakhtar still 0-0. It's the 63rd minute.
Yes, Castro got quite close.
I'm telling you guys, like, we're live.
We
As
are
if you don't
live.
know the result right
Yeah.
now. Hilarious.
Atalanta 3, Fiorentina 2, brother. This was the match, to watch. And it was happening when I think it was Arsenal. What game was on? There was a Premier League game on at the
Arsenal
same time.
Spurs.
Arsenal Spurs, I think, was on at the same time. This was lit compared to that. So for...
I was going to say, Atalanta Arsenal.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a mental game.
I think so too.
It's going to be a great game.
start
Thursday night.
Absolutely. So Atalanta 3, Fiorentina 2. For Atalanta, it was their 3-4-2-1 formation with Carnesecchi in goal, Jim City-Hien and Kolasinac at the back. So it's nice to see that they've got their defenders back, Atalanta. However, they're not as sharp, of course, as they've only just come back from injury.
Definitely.
Bellanova was on the right, Ruggeri was on the left, with Derun and Ederson playing in the middle, with Lukman and CDK playing behind Retegui. For Fiorentina, it was a 3-4-2-1 formation as well, with De Gea in goal, Biraghi, Ranieri, and Quarta at the back. Three centre-backs who aren't the most defensively dominant. Like you look at Biraghi, he was a left-back for the majority of his career. You look at Ranieri as well, who started off his career being deployed typically out wide. He's not the biggest, most imposing centre-back. And then Quarta as well is quite like he'll pass the ball and sprint upfield, you know what I mean?
And then the other options that they have, same thing. Pongracic, Kayode.
Yes.
Pongracic can be quite dominant, but we know his profile.
He's just been so shaken since arriving, so he's not quite reliable yet. But I'm sure we'll see more of him because these guys aren't anchors, and they need an anchor. They need a Gym City.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Gym City pitch.
So Gosens was on the left, Dodo on the right, with Mandragora and Cataldi in the middle, Colpani and Bove playing behind Moise Keane. Now, Fiorentina took an early lead through Martinez Quarta after Carnesecchi parried Gosens' header into his path, and Quarta did well to tap it in. Quarta doing Quarta things, bro.
Yeah.
Like, on Fantacalcios, he must have gone for so much, this guy.
He did go for a lot of hours in the bid. I was put off immediately.
Yeah. But he might be on par to replicate, on course to replicate this season last year. He's got goals. He lives for goals as centre-back. It's hilarious. Retegui equalised 6 minutes later after Lookman absolutely destroyed Bove, knocking the ball past him and freeing up space in between the keeper and the defence. He crossed the ball perfectly just as the players closed him down to Retegui, who headed downwards and accurately and hard and perfectly.
That is the exact ball you want as a striker. And that's the ball you want from your winger.
And that's the header you go for as well.
Exactly.
So good. What a goal. Keane then gave Fiorentina the lead again just 11 minutes later, converting Gosens' perfect cross and griddying away. I wonder if that's a celebration he'll keep in his later years. Like once he's like 33. Think he'll keep doing that?
Maybe. There are the Ashley Coles, of sorts, that they're quite eccentric. They're quite R&B, you know? They're a little bit femme, maybe.
Ooh.
You know? Ooh.
Yeah. I'm curious to see a 35-year-old Moise Keane griddying away as he scores like a winner for Parma, you know?
But bro, I'm not gonna lie. I want to see Leao and Pulisic hit the griddy. Both of them, one assists the other. I need them both to griddy. I need it today, like.
I would love to see it, man. Against Inter, imagine that. He will start griddying.
What are you doing?
Yes, Keane hit the post 5 minutes later from an awkward angle. Maybe he should have crossed, but the shot was respectable enough. CDK converted an Atalanta free kick through an uncharacteristic header in the 41st minute. And at the end of the first half, it was Gosens who got marked by Lookman this time. Lookman also bamboozled De Gea with his finish, and that was it for the goals. That CDK goal, bro, I've never seen him do that.
That is exactly what you get when you go play for a team like Atalanta. The fact that he's obviously got size to him, not a genius by saying he's tall.
But he's put on muscle. It's very clear to see as well.
He seemed scared to enter duels at Milan. He seemed scared to go for a header. And even in his first year at Atalanta, I think he scored his first goal with a header, but it was by no means that he went in for it with no bullshit whatsoever. The 100%. This is something that he would have worked on. It's great with his size to be able to head the ball in.
Absolutely, at his height, you'd expect more of that. In the second half, of course, Atalanta's dominance was evident, particularly through their counter-attacks. Fiorentina faded as the game progressed, with their midfield losing control of the tempo, and they allowed Atalanta to transition really quickly. Atalanta had several chances to extend their lead, largely through swift counter-attacks by Lookman and CDK. There was one moment when Bellanova missed an interesting one-on-one where the ball was kind of like between him and the keeper who had rushed out, and he toe poked it and went just wide. And Lookman had another one-on-one from a tight angle which he skied. He hit it so hard he went for power. But when it comes to takeaways, I think both teams can improve defensively, bro.
I mean, 100%.
Especially Fiorentina,
I think,
man.
I don't think that this is an ideal setup for Fiorentina if you look at their defense, unfortunately. I don't think they've got many anchors over there, like we said earlier. I think it's as Simple as that. I think the way they're set up as well, you look at their two midfielders in Cataldi and Mandragora as well, they are two midfielders that can certainly be bullied. It's kind of a similar issue that Milan had before Fofana entered. It was like Reinders and Benacer. It was like these guys can get bullied and get outplayed.
Good on the ball,
and
not
I think
strong enough or imposing enough of.
And I think Fiorentina are improving on the ball. They're improving a little bit off the ball. Still a lot. They leave a lot to be desired. Like Colpani, to me, he's shown me nothing so far. And this was a match made in heaven, right? Same manager, same system, new team.
Absolutely.
Same formation, not system, obviously. But and he really hasn't showed us anything. It's still kind of like an experimental phase, but I genuinely don't think. I think he's missing some tools.
3 at the back doesn't work, bro. You hit the nail on the head over there, because they don't have enough centre backs for it to work, especially without Pongracic. I feel like this is almost entirely to play Biraghi, because if you play a 4 at the back, Biraghi doesn't play, man. You know.
Perhaps.
I think that's what it is. And you need to kind of play now with wing backs, because they've got players who thrive in that position. Sure, you've got Gosens, you've got Dodo. I mean, if you ignore the defense, it works quite well. Maybe you could do with that midfielder. What's his name? They've got that new guy, bro. Richardson. Once he adapts, I think he'll be super useful over there. He's an imposing figure. That guy is massive. However, the defense needs to be addressed for sure. Pongracic needs to get his shit together. He needs to adapt quickly, because they're gonna keep leaking goals.
I don't think it's to play Biraghi, the system. I think the system's there because Palladino has not perfected the system, but he excelled in the system at Monza. It's
but
his
he switched
system.
it up at Monza. He often played 4 at the back as well.
Then it's time we start seeing him switching it up a bit as well. The introduction of Bove, I guess, as a more central player, which allows Gosens, which frees up space for Gosens, could be good, but Bove as well, he's just not it. And I can't express how much I think the insertion of Goodmanson will make a difference to this team, like night and day.
Yes.
Like night and day.
Absolutely. It's a shame he's going to prison. If he's guilty, he deserves. I keep saying this.
No.
Yes, just in case we get clipped. But yes, very strong, solid victory for Atalanta to keep coming back and to keep...
Lookman, bro, back in the team and instantly, bro. Instantly. He's the star man.
It's true. He's got that X factor about him, Adamola Lookman, and he's taken his game recently to a whole new level. He started well immediately at Atalanta when he was brought in, but it wasn't this spectacular. Nowadays it's become spectacular. He puts on a show.
Yeah, he did it immediately. He came into Atalanta and instantly he was a weapon up front. And I believe in his first season, he might have been their top scorer as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. And as well, just to go back, because obviously you mentioned the defense of Fiorentina and also the defense of Atalanta. Yes, I think Hien didn't have a great game over here. I think Hien either looks very good or unfortunate. He looks often like a nuisance at the back.
He's been out, or you mean since joining Atalanta?
Since joining Atalanta,
he hasn't quite adapted fully yet. Yes.
Of course, there's Scalvini that is still out. That is a super highly rated centre back, but unfortunately, other than that, it doesn't seem like
Toloi was injured and Godfrey was injured as well.
Toloi as well.
So
I completely forgot about Toloi.
Hey, Toloi is a Euros winner. The Brazilian Italian.
Yes, for Italy. He's a Euros winner. That's crazy.
But yeah, I think that was a solid victory for Atalanta in a tough match. The Gewiss Stadium looks great. The renovations have been finished.
For sure.
The capacity has improved and it looks brilliant. So yeah, on to the next for these guys.
I'm just going to say one more thing as well. Sulemana, they should bring him on a little bit more often in games like this, in my opinion, because again, not an incredible amount of ball winners in midfield. I just think Sulemana could be specifically a good weapon to use a bit more often. Samardzic was an unused
I
player
think
in this game as well.
with Darun over there, Sulemana can adapt and come into it slowly. As long as Darun isn't forced to play centre back, poor guy.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, he does a
He does a
decent
great job, man. Darun is a player any coach would like to have.
Hey.
I think, yes.
Empoli 0, Juve 0. Empoli coming off a 1-1 away draw to Bologna, whilst Juve are coming off a 0-0 home draw to Roma. Motta gave Coop Miners, Nico, Douglas Luiz and Kalulu their first starts, with Perin taking the gloves as part of squad rotation with their game in the Champions League against PSV, which we completely forgot to mention, as they won 3-0. Brilliant goal by Yildiz.
Fantastic.
Great performance by them.
Nico got one as well.
Conceição and Milik were out injured for this one. Empoli were also unbeaten, but Fazzini joined Zurkowski, Bellardinelli, Perizan and Ebouehi on the treatment table. It's quite a big loss for them, Fazzini. It was a 3-4-2-1 formation for Empoli, with Vasquez in goal and a backline of Viti, Ismaili and Jesus. Goglicize.
Yeah, there he is, bro. Goglicize.
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 Oh, he has to be Georgian.
Oh,
he is Georgian.
Of course.
He is Georgian. Yes, I know about this guy. That's a good back three by Empoli, by the way. Viti, Ismaili and...
Ismaili was really, really good this game.
He was quality.
Yeah.
Petzella out on the left, Jassi on the right, and double pivot of Grassi and Henderson, with Male and Esposito playing behind Colombo. There's a 4-2-3-1 formation for Motta's men, or the 2-7-2. Perin in goal, and the backline of Kalulu, Gatti, Bremer and Cambiaso. Locatelli and Luiz in the double pivot, with Nico out on the right, Yildiz out on the left, and Cope Miners playing behind Dusan Vlahovic. Now, I didn't note the play-by-play, because this was a game that saw few chances, to be honest, so we could get straight into the talking points of how this game went. Obviously, after two impressive wins at the start of the campaign, Juve now fall to 2 goalless draws against Roma and Empoli. Do you think that maybe there was something about overhyping Juve in the opening 2 games, or do you think that they're still kind of in the process of finding their feet?
I think they're definitely in the process of finding their feet. This game, they fielded many of the new guys from the first minute for the first time. Douglas Luiz, Coop Miners, Nico Gonzalez, all had to play together. And Pierre Kalulu as well was there for his first game. Yildiz had to play on the left, which isn't his favorite position. So there were many new things happening for Juve. Now the priority, while trying to get these guys to gel and to build chemistry for Juve, is to not concede goals. And Motta knows this, and Motta's approach has always been the main focus, exactly, a balanced one, where you focus on the defense. Bologna had the best defense in the league when they had their amazing season last year. And that's literally what they're doing over here. Vlahovic has been quite wasteful for them. Classic.
Yeah,
we've seen this with Vlahovic. And I think Juve will only get better, to be honest with you. There's no reason, I think, to push the panic button.
No.
People are calling Motta Allegri 2.0. But these guys need to gel. They'll come up with a few patterns now. They'll get used to each other. They'll know, they'll learn where Vlahovic wants the ball, and they'll start playing it to him perfectly. They'll learn about how quickly Coop Miners is able to release the ball, so they'll make the runs earlier. They'll get used to each other. These are merely growing pains.
100%. I think they have a very talented team. I mean, you look at their starting 11 in this game, it's spectacular. Spectacular. Give me 14 of them. Douglas Luiz, alongside Locatelli. But Nico, Cope Miners, Yildiz, Vlahovic is a thing of beauty. Even if you look at the defense, naturally, there's Cambiaso out there on the left, Bremer. Gattias has been a superstar for them so far, and Pierre Kalulu, we rate him quite highly.
And Juve fans have been thanking Milan fans for Kalulu. While they're very impressed and happy with their right back. Milan are stuck with Calabria and Emerson Royal. It's weird. It's weird. I don't understand. I don't understand that deal at all. But yes, I think that Empoli, by the way, are a very good team this season. The way they've started the season,
100%.
They're super well-oiled, well-drilled, and dangerous on the counter. So I think Juve were right to be hesitant, especially away from home. to an Empoli side that could have easily caused an upset. And we've seen what upsets can do with these big teams already, man. People are panicking, bro.
Yes.
Inter fans are panicking. Milan fans are panicking. Juve fans are panicking. Roma fans are panicking. Everyone's freaking out.
And this was
And then Udinese are having a party. at the top, you know?
Literally. And this was the classic case in this game where Juve were trying to invite some element of press from Empoli, but Empoli are smarter than that. And it's not the first time we saw Roma try to do it to Empoli as well. And Empoli are like, no. You do you. We're staying right fucking here.
It's almost comical when they start playing the ball at the back. Literally, like, it's so clear that they're trying to invite players to press, and they just stand there.
Literally.
And they move from left to
As
right.
a unit, they're so disciplined. But then if you look at the performance of the three gentlemen at the back, both as a unit, their understanding of each other, and individually as well. Yeah, Viti, Ismaili, and God, I really want to get this guy's name right because I rate him highly.
Goglishit.
I think Kaladze, so Goglichidze, maybe Goglichidze, I guess. Any Georgians, please. But honestly, three great performances. I think even if you look at the duels, if you look at the clearances, you have one with loads of clearances.
Most of them,
That's a fantastic performance by them, and Empoli can really frustrate teams. That is, they've played Roma and they've played Juve, and both teams, and they've walked away with a point in both games. There's no problem for them. Obviously, when it comes to Juve, I don't want to be too critical about their individuals, especially the ones that I'm going to mention that had a bit more of a poor performance, are the ones that are completely new to the team, so it's completely understandable. But it wouldn't be a football podcast if I didn't straight up address the poor performances.
Yeah, please.
First, Nico.
Yes.
Had a stinker every time he got the ball on the right-hand side. He probably did something wrong. Not like the Champions League game, because he was much better over there. Cope Miners feels still a little bit starstruck, feels a little bit out of place. It's almost like they're trying to fit him in where there isn't a direct spot for him. He's used to a completely different system. He didn't even have one particular position that he used to play at Atalanta, but he used to plug and play in various different roles.
He did the basics perfectly. The problem was some of his crosses were overhit, I feel like, Miners. But when it came to the ground passes and everything like that, he was all right, I think.
Douglas Luiz, I don't know if I was completely wrong about him having a great touch, but it seems like everything was bouncing off him and he never quite had full control of the ball when he was on it. He just felt a little bit wayward. And naturally, Vlahovic, when he's going with this form, then he's incredibly wasteful, and he never fails to insert himself, Vlahovic. He's always available to his teammates, but sometimes, to be fair, the defenders were on him like crazy. They were just they got the better of him. But no, it sucks. If Vlahovic isn't playing well, who the hell are they gonna bring on as a striker?
Because Milik's out, right?
Even if they bring on Milik.
Milik's deployable. He's not great.
Deployable.
He's deployable.
Deployable. I don't think they want someone deployable. I think they want someone good
Vlahovic
as an
had
option.
30 touches this game. Goes to show, right? Totally isolated. But yes, again, growing pains, Juve will be back.
Shout out to Gatti, who so far this season has been Juve's best player, in my opinion. And also just a huge shout out once again to Kenan Yildiz. I can't believe how young he is. The goal he scored in the Champions League was phenomenal. This guy is the future. This guy is the second coming of Del Piero without the obviously so early to say. Terrible things can happen to him, but I hope great things happen to him.
It's also a shame for Juve that they didn't get their ball playing centre back, because Gatti and Bremer aren't exactly refined with their ball playing.
They're no Calafiori.
Exactly.
They're no Calafiori.
It would have been an important signing, that Calafiori. He had his Euros and they didn't manage to get him, obviously, but I thought at first that they were going to try to mold Kalulu into that man, to be honest with you. But yeah. And interesting to see as well, Motta deciding to rotate goalkeepers again. It goes to show his take on the squad.
He used
totally
to do
different.
it with Bologna as well.
With Ravalia, or whatever his name was, and Skorupski. And now he's doing it with Perrin and Di Gregorio. I mean, granted, Perrin must be difficult to bench every single week because he's a really good keeper.
Fun fact, Juve haven't conceded a goal yet this season.
Absolutely. Which is
now,
something
whilst
to
emotional
celebrate
people, whilst emotional people would say that's Allegri ball, to me that is what I would call dominant football, by Motta's men, and I would rather have a team that is maybe struggling to score but don't concede, rather than scoring but for every goal they score, they concede. Because that's a fragile team. I'd rather be on Juve's ship at the moment rather than Milan's ship at the moment.
Yeah.
Not as a fucking fan, but just as quality-wise where I would want my team to be at the moment.
In the 1993-1994 season, Milan won the Serie A by scoring only 36 goals in 34 games, right? They conceded 15 goals only. So, you don't concede, you can win the league. You don't need to score a lot. So they're definitely on the right track over there. I think they're in a better situation than the likes of Milan, who are conceding 2 a game, for example.
Exactly.
You know?
There you go. I'm happy to move on, bro. Are you happy to move on?
I'm happy. Wait a second, because I pulled up some English notes. There we go. So we have Genoa 1, Roma 1, and then he was sacked. So for Roma, it was a 3-5-1-1 formation. Well, that explains it. Now, Svilar was in goal with Angelino, Endika and Mancini at the back, El Shaarawy and Salamakers on the flanks with Pisilli, Cristante and Kone playing as the midfield trident, with Dybala playing off the shoulders of Artem Dovbyk.
Can I just correct, because I made a small mistake earlier. I said that Empoli got out of the games against Roma and Juve with 1 point per game. They actually fucking beat Roma 2-1. I thought it was a 0-0 for a second. Sorry.
There we go. No problem, bro. Gollini was in goal for Genoa in their 3-5-2 formation with Vogliacco, De Winter and Vasquez at the back, Sabelli and Martin on the flanks with Thorsby, Badel and Frendrup in the middle, Pinamonti and Ekuban up front. Once again, solid little team Genoa.
Yep.
So this was literally a game of 2 halves, in my opinion. Of course, it was literally a game of 2 halves. Every match is literally a game of 2 halves, right?
Jake's a genius.
It was a game of 2 halves, yes. The first half saw Roma absolutely dominating Genoa. Now, before I go into the details of the game, let's remember that this fixture last season ended in a 4-1 victory for Genoa against Roma. Remember when Albert Goodmanson kind of introduced himself to the league?
And Retegui had that goal with incredible build-up play, sexy build-up play, man.
So this was by no means, once again, an easy game, because there are no easy games unless you're playing
No,
Venezia.
and Genoa, go look at Genoa's record against the top teams. The top teams all struggle against Genoa.
Yeah. So Roma controlled the first half completely. They set up, of course, in a 3-5-2, identical to Genoa's setup, and they emphasized offensive fluidity with El Shaarawy and Salamakers advancing frequently and playing quite dangerously, especially Salamakers. He had a really good game. And Helinho and Mancini also ventured forward into Genoa's half, pushing the play and creating spaces for attacks. Cristante was orchestrating the midfield, supported by Pisilli and Kone, who regularly disrupted Genoa's defensive lines. Roma's vertical play caused Genoa a lot of problems. The forwards pressed high, and they forced Genoa's defensive line to make a few mistakes in the first half. This approach paid off when Dovbyk capitalized on some chaotic play to score his first goal, even though he had to wait 6 minutes to actually celebrate.
I'd get over it. I'd get over it in the meantime.
Exactly, I wouldn't even celebrate. But yes, Salamakers did go off injured in the, let's see exactly, because that was quite a turning point, in the 50th minute in the second half. And Salamakers was looking very dangerous and lively for them. So I think it might have been a factor in what happened in the second half. Genoa adapted really well. They made their substitutions and they shifted to a 4-3-1-2. Roma brought on fresh legs. They struggled to adjust. They became very passive and they allowed Genoa to dominate possession and to push forward, particularly through their wide players. Roma's defensive line was slow to react and Genoa capitalized on their inability to close down crosses. De Winter managed to equalize late on following a poorly contested cross and sealed the draw for Genoa. And to summarize this game, Roma did everything right at the beginning but failed to shut up shop. They just surrender too aggressively, I feel like.
I feel like it's not even that they failed to shut up shop, because at the end that's pretty much what they did, which obviously, if you're right, they did fail at that because they conceded in the 96th. They really struggled to kill the game though. Why? Because it seemed like last season, what was the biggest pro of De Rossi? That De Rossi, after 3 seasons of Mourinho, made them feel again what it's like to play offensive football. to play offensive fluid football, and they were fluid right from the start when De Rossi arrived, right from the start. And it just feels it's been a bit more mechanical this season. Now, why has it been mechanical thus far? Obviously, you've got virtually a new front three in this game. Of course, it wasn't a new front three because he's changed it around to a 3-5-1-1. Why? Because the new front three and the new players who fitted into this system have been struggling to adapt and struggling to get in points. Still very early. So in this case, he tried to opt for the 3-5-1-1, and once again, we've struggled to see that fluidity. And because they didn't manage to kill the game off, which is something they've been struggling to do for so long, naturally, Genoa are constantly in the game for 90 minutes. It doesn't matter who they're against, they're in the game for 90 minutes. And the last they managed to find the goal at the end. But what is interesting me now, let's say Roma close the Juric deal. They get Juric on board. I'm going to give you a positive and a negative. I'm sorry, I just jumped onto this point
please,
instantly. Positive. They have a very tactically sound and cautious manager that is going to help all of these new players gel into a clear system more rapidly. So it's likely going to be a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2 formation. Every single player is going to know what they're going to do. It's likely to be like a Dovbyk alongside the ball up front, which looked good in this game for the majority of it, or a 3-4-2-1 where we see Sule and the ball playing behind, obviously if Salamaker's whatever, he plays left wing back or whatever. But this guy is going to allow them to gel 100%.
Yeah.
The negative side is Roma fans. You've just gotten over the Mourinho hangover and you're finally seeing your team playing offensive football, and now you're going 2 steps back because you're not going back to a Mourinho system, but you're going back to an Ivan Juric system.
Yeah, and it's been confirmed now, by the way.
It has been confirmed. Breaking news. My God, we're recording when it's confirmed. It's crazy. There's the actual...
2 hours ago.
2 hours ago.
Well, 7 hours ago.
I mean, okay, we were literally setting up.
Yes, bro, you're spot on. They're going back to Mourinho, right? And it goes to show there's a lack of leadership in this team as well from the management as well from the top. There's a lack of direction, maybe not leadership. The transfer market was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
The players they brought in were great. They got a nice mix. They got the La Liga top scorer, which was unheard of lately in Serie when they
5 seasons ago they would have bought Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly.
More than 5.
So yeah, that's crazy that they had such a good window, because it almost kind of put pressure on them that they weren't ready to invite. When they extended De Rossi, they made it clear that they're in this for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
De Rossi is a project manager. He showed that he's very fluid, dynamic, can change things up, forward thinking, progressive. He's got his ideas and his visions in place. And it takes time, of course, with a young manager and one of his first ever Serie A experience. Renewing him was literally a statement saying we're in the long run. We're in this together for the long run. It's a project. However, I think with the signings that Roma made, their expectations changed. Particularly, maybe it's because of the fans. Maybe the management, the top, the Friedkin started saying, "Listen, we've invested 100 million over here. We need to make sure that we get at least top 4, or something like that." Because something's definitely changed. You don't go all in and offer a guy a 3-year contract and then randomly fire him 4 games into the season. It makes no sense. And he was sent off this game, De Rossi. I wonder. And Totti said some weird things about De Rossi as well before he was even sacked. Totti said, considering the summer's crazy investment. So this is literally what I'm talking about when it comes to the pressure that comes with actually having a good mercato, man. Considering the summer's crazy investments, they must qualify for the Champions League. If you invest 100 million and don't get there, it's a total failure. Now, Totti said this to Il Messaggero, a newspaper, and it was quoted by calciomercato.com. He said, without fighting for the Champions League, De Rossi will go earlier. He won't get until the end.
I don't know.
It's weird.
It's weird. I think that shows that there was there
was tension. Something was happening behind the scenes.
I also think there must have been some kind of bust up, because first it happened so suddenly after 4 games. I see why the Genoa game, after he failed to kill it off and conceding at the end and whatever, and he got sent off in additional time. It's weird. It's like when Allegri got sacked, kind of thing. It was also behavioral to a certain degree. Didn't help himself. Bologna are gonna draw 0-0 to Shakhtar Donetsk. There's a minute of additional time left. Where was I? Sorry, but I think there must have been some kind of big disagreement. Obviously, I'm not calling De Rossi a hothead, but he's a passionate man. He'll stand up for what he believes in, and I mean that in the most flattering way possible.
Yeah, I remember him telling Ventura off for bringing him on.
You gotta bring me on, bring Insigne on.
Exactly, we need a goal. Yeah.
So there must have been something, and the Friedkins. If I were a Roma fan, I don't think I'd trust them completely. They're again. Great signings, but sometimes their management of managers and people just is a little bit off.
The way they handled Mourinho as well. Yeah, and I wonder if the Dybala situation had anything to do with it too, because there were so many factors. Lately it's been a bit strange.
It's been a mess. It's been a mess the entire time. Shout out to Kone and Pisilli. Because finally the midfield looks like it's got some legs and some life, rather than Paredes, Cristante, Pellegrini. Jesus Christ. It's like the lungs of the team have finally they've coughed up all the smoke, and they've got 3 midfielders with a clear system. Kone is really good. I rate Kone so much. He looks great. And young Pisilli, I'm impressed by him. And then Cristante, you know what he's gonna get you.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Juric is gonna love this guy.
This whole De Rossi thing, I can't wait to see what comes out. I'm sure he's going to say something.
Let's
even
get him on the pod.
With the fact that Juric was at the game beforehand. Juric was at the game.
That's fucking
what? Clearly they were already considering it.
Imagine
and imagine 3 games
him.
in.
Look, De Rossi, Daniela, come here. Look, he's ready. He said no to Hajduk Split.
There's a vacancy for the Maltese national team job. De Rossi, if you're interested.
You'll take us to the very top.
Yes. Yeah. So that was basically it. Yes. Genoa going strong with Gilardino still giving everyone, every big team.
Because he's the GOAT. Because Gilardino is the next big thing, manager-wise. Because he's fantastic. The way he plays balanced football is the same way Inzaghi plays balanced football, and it's the same way Motta plays balanced football. It's very mature and it's deadly. There's almost this trademark to the way Bologna play football, even those deep, high crosses that they give to the far post. Back in the day, Dragosin used to be there to knock them in, who was being completely wasted at Spurs, but obviously the fixture list is what it is, so we'll see.
And this is them with a bunch of injuries. They had, because I always forget to read this out, so Roma were only missing new boy Lefebvre, while Genoa were missing Anke, Messias, Miretti, Norton Cioffi, Zanoli, all these guys, So in fact, it was Vitinha who played the ball, and typically that's Messias' territory,
And I just want to say again, I'm going to go back to how this team performs against the top teams. Who have they beaten this season? Okay, they've beaten Monza away from home, but they've drawn to Inter at home, and they've drawn to Roma at home as well. Who did they lose to? They lost 2-0 at home to Hellas Verona. But this is it's a tough team for all the big teams all the top teams to face.
And I feel like with teams like Genoa, there's an obvious game plan against big teams, whereas against the likes of Hellas Verona, you don't know how they're going to set up against you. You go to Hellas, you don't know if they're going to attack you, you don't know if they're going to sit back, so it can catch you off guard.
He strikes me as a student of the game, Gilardino.
Absolutely. Man. You go to Roma, you know they're going to attack you, especially the Rossis. You go to Milan, you know they're going to attack you. So these small teams can be a bit complicated when it comes to maybe having the wrong game plan prepared.
8:48, bro. Shall we move on to the next game?
Let's
Bologna
go.
finished 0-0, obviously. I'm getting tired of Italiano. Lazio 2, Verona 1 is the next game we're going to be covering. Of course, Lazio coming off that 2-2 home draw to Milan, whilst Verona were coming off that impressive 2-0 away win to Genoa. Baroni's Lazio came into this game having recorded 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss after 3 matches before the international break, while Verona could have gone level with Napoli in second had they picked up a victory in this game. A 4-2-3-1 formation for Baroni's men with Provedel in goal and a backline of Lazzari, Hila, Romagnoli and Tavares, double pivot of Rovella and Guendouzi, and behind Castellanos played Zaccagni, Dia and Isaacson. For Verona, it was a 3-4-3 formation. Yes, a 3-4-3 formation with Montepò on goal, Danilulic, Coppola and Davidovic at the back, Chachua on the right, Lazovic on the left, and a midfield two of Belayane and Silva, with Castanos out on the right, Harrui out on the left, and Tengstedt starting up front. Now, Zaccagni assisted Boulaye, who scored with a beautifully placed shot into the near corner, a great finish by Boulaye, who's back.
What a striker, man. He's so good.
He's
He's so good, man. He's so intelligent. He's so well-rounded. Technically, he doesn't leave much to be desired. The way he can control the ball and just turn and poach the ball perfectly into, place it perfectly into the back of the net. He's very smart, Dia.
And
Very
it's typically a risk employing a striker that played for a minnow side, because it's always the debate of how do they fare alongside quality players. How do they fare in a tighter fixture list? How do they fare when you have to be much more tactically disciplined and acute?
Yes.
But he's smart, Dia. He's fitted in like a glove, playing a different role as well.
And even with Salernitana and the cup game where they actually brought him back in and all the fans were booing him, we covered it earlier this season. He looked, man, like out of place. He was too good to be playing in that game. So yeah, I think he demonstrated a while back that this was his level, but it's always a risk, as you said.
Of previously linked to Milan, of course, Boulaye Dia. What if? Verona very easily bypassed Lazio's midfield as Coppola then played a pass through Lazio's defence, allowing Tengstedt to equalise for Verona with a 1-on-1 finish. I cannot stress to you guys how easy it was for Verona to bypass Lazio's midfield and their defence over here. Now you might say, Lazio are clearly struggling in that department. Romagnoli was sleeping, which he was. Go watch the tape, Verona versus Napoli, and watch Verona do that to Napoli over and over again. Because they attack straight down the fucking middle. If you were to fucking measure the pitch, they'll choose the exact middle of it, and that's where they're going to attack from. 3 passes. Pass forward, pass forward, pass forward. And they were clean through on goal. Romagnoli was an absolute sleeper, though, I'm going to be honest.
And the Tengstedt, we highlighted him coming into the season because he's quite a prolific goal scorer historically in the leagues he's played in. And he timed the run to perfection over here, and his finish was so cool and calm. Like he seems to be a player who isn't affected by pressure. He isn't too emotional, even his celebration, bro. His face.
It's true.
Totally
he means business.
Emotionless, yes.
He means business.
And sometimes with teams like this, that's what you need up front. A cold killer.
Just to stress again that very easily bypassed. I think it's certainly an element of shock to see a team go right down the fucking
yeah.
Like
Nowadays, you really don't expect it when everyone plays a million passes to the wing.
Literally, but sometimes, who was it? Cruyff said it, and Sarri mentioned it again. But Cruyff once said, it's the most beautiful saying in football, is like, football is a simple game, but getting a team to play simple football is the hardest thing to do. And facts. Rovella forced Montepò into a diving save with a long distance shot. This would have been an excellent goal by Nico Rovella. Zaccagni's corner found Tati Castellanos, who scored with a diving volley to restore Lazio's lead. I had no idea what to call that, but I think I'll stand
diving
with
volley works. I like
diving volley. Shortly after, unfortunately, Tati did have to leave the game due to a thigh injury, as Montepò then made a gorgeous double save to deny Boulaye and Tavares. Just like Excellent goalkeeping. The first save was fantastic. Gets up quick, makes himself big, blocks the second strikers. That's what you see Montipò do.
Yeah.
Time and time again. What an excellent goalkeeper.
And what a player Nuno Tavares is, by the way. How
Moving forward, he's brilliant. I don't think he was tested too much defensively, but going forward, he's excellent. He's almost Brazilian.
What more than what a talent, what an athlete.
Yes,
because he's got so much energy. Even towards the end of the game, they would just give him the ball and just bomb forward, forward relentlessly. And again, as we mentioned, this is so weird to see from a Lazio team who usually play the likes of,
Marusic, for the past 10 years, dog. It's been
Radu,
Madonna,
Lulic.
Oh my god! It's
good players in their own right, but not as dynamic as this guy. Not as adventurous,
definitely as Nuno Tavares. And it's interesting because they saw his profile and said, "Yes, bring him in." Yeah. I'm sure Baroni had something to do with that. A great sign for Lazio is that both their strikers, India and Tati, have now both scored 2 goals in as many games, which is to get them a draw against Milan and to get them the win over Hellas Verona. I love a 2-up-top system when both strikers are firing, bro. It's an excellent thing when both strikers are on form.
And they're both proper nines in the fact that you can cross to them, you can play them through,
they're both big, they're both zippy
they both,
as well.
They both fit the profile of a traditional number 9. However, man, they're both capable of dropping deep and spraying the ball. So they're very technical. It's almost like the perfect hybrid. You're playing with a 2-striker formation, but they can join in the build-up play, both of them. It's so dynamic. This Lazio team is really interesting, man.
1,000,000,000%, bro.
1,000,000,000.
I just need to highlight, of course, Zaccagni, 2 assists in this game. This guy is the hero of the Lazio team. He's Mr. Pardon me.
Pardon me.
He's Mr. Reliable for them. I just think they reacted brilliantly after a shocking goal that they conceded at the end of the day. It seemed like Hila and Romagnoli were on a complete other planet. Hila was looking at Romagnoli, who seemed to take accountability for it, because Romagnoli really has had a poor start to the season. A couple of games ago, not defending because the linesman had his flag up when there was no whistle. It's just he seems a bit spaced out, and that's the criticism we had of him in the title-winning season for Milan and the seasons before that.
Yeah, needs to definitely get his head in the game more. 29 years old now.
Yeah. Despite the loss again, Verona showed us signs that they're capable of battling superior teams, that they're capable of being an offensive unit, which is surprising because it seems like their team gets weaker and weaker every year. But they're so intelligent in the market, and they're playing adventurous football. They're attacking teams. They're playing like a Zanetti side at the end of the day. And Zanetti's entire philosophy is get the ball to the box as quick as you can, right? And that's certainly what he's doing. Exactly. And that's certainly what he's doing here.
Castrovilli has been omitted from the Europa League squad. It doesn't really surprise me. What do you think about that? I don't know. Just interesting news.
Castrovilli being omitted from the Champions League squad.
Yeah. Castrovilli, of course, joined Lazio in the summer. But he's been omitted, from the Champions League.
As in, I haven't seen him play for I've barely seen him play for Lazio yet. So it's really tough for... It's weird because I don't feel like they have many options in the central midfield role.
Right.
So if you look at Rovella and Guendouzi, wouldn't it? Oh, of course, there's Vecino. But wouldn't it be good to have Castrovilli as an option? Just feels odd that he's completely omitted.
I think so too. I think it's a little bit strange, but clearly maybe he's not at his best, or he's being protected, or they're giving him some time, or simply they prioritize other profiles, right? I don't think it's that strange considering he's new and he's been so interrupted by injuries.
That's true.
Yeah.
Here we go with City Inter. Savinho. Who the hell? But that's it for Lazio Verona from my end. Just to highlight some individuals from this game. Well, pretty much I already have. Particularly with Zaccagni, Dia Castellanos. And otherwise for Verona, I just think that it's tough to highlight one singular player apart from Montepò, who made 5 brilliant saves in this game. Otherwise, I think we can move on, bro.
Excellent. The next match was a pleasure to watch. Parma 2, Udinese 3. It was bittersweet because I absolutely love Parma and I love how they play. But there are clear flaws in their game, and looking at their points and the way they've played so far this season, they deserve to be further up the table, to be honest.
100%.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Parma lined up with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Ciccizola playing in goal to cover the suspended Suzuki. Ciccizola was also the name that Del Prato had at the back of his shirt when he played in goal last game, because obviously he doesn't have a goalkeeper kit, right? Del Prato was the right back with Balog and Circati playing as the centre backs and Koulibaly playing as the left back.
Woyo
Koulibaly. Bernabe and Som were the midfield double pivot, with Dennis Mann on the right, Cancellieri on the left, and Mihala playing behind Boni. Now, this is
little changes.
A streets will never forget team.
Yeah, 100%.
This is like, I don't even know which team comes to mind. This is like that Empoli team that had Benacer, Krunic, Traore, Caputo. It's like that team, man. You know, just. Star-studded with little, cult heroes.
Taremi starting ahead of Lautaro Martinez.
Interesting. So Okoye was in goal for Udinese, and they deployed a flat back five of Camara, Gianetti, Biol, Christensen, and Hezibwe, with Payero, Karlstrom, and Lovrich playing in the middle, with the striking partnership of big man, small man, Lorenzo Lucca, Florian Thauvin. How can you not love it? Love a big man, small man pairing up front.
Amaury Miccoli, bro. Take me back.
So as for unavailable players, of course, Udinese are still missing Deulofeu and they're still missing Sanchez, which is crazy because those are two massive players. Deulofeu is gone, right?
Deulofeu.
It's so sad, bro. He said he's considering
retiring. Last time he played football, Deulofeu.
His body just can't do it.
He's always struggled with injuries, poor guy.
Benedicchak.
I think at least that's what I say.
Estevez, Kowalski, and Suzuki were all unavailable, of course, for Parma. Now, the match started with an early advantage for Parma in the 3rd minute. Man played a short corner to Mihala, who played it to Del Prato, short again the corner, who put Parma ahead. So Del Prato went from playing goalkeeper last game to scoring this game. Despite some promising movement from Thuvan, Udinese struggled to convert their chances. Parma's advantage was doubled just before halftime when Mann's individual effort set up Boni, who toe-poked it in to make it 2-0. I'm not sure if it was a toe-poke or the outstep. It was kind of a combination, kind of 50-50.
Definitely wasn't laces.
Yeah. Udinese's attempts to equalize were thwarted by Parma's defense and a hilarious near error by Koulibaly and Chizola. Did you see that, bro? Did you see Koulibaly clearing the ball up into the air, like from the edge of his box up high, and it falls, and the goalkeeper isn't sure where it's gonna land, so he's kind of afraid to commit, but he doesn't want to give away a corner for nothing. He decides, oh my god, it's going in. He parries it onto the crossbar and it goes out.
But
hilarious. That would have been
literally comical,
honestly. So yes, Udinese came out rejuvenated in the second half, and they managed to pull one back in the 50th minute with a goal through Lucca following a perfect cross from Camara. As the game progressed, Udinese's persistence paid off. Thuvan scored the equalizer after a good build-up play involving Davis and Zarraga, eventually to kind of like force the ball into the back of the net. And the match tilted further into Udinese's favour when Keita received a second yellow card stupidly, leaving Parma with 10 men, of course, taking advantage of their numerical superiority. Udinese scored the winning goal once again through Thuvan, which was initially ruled out but later confirmed by VAR. Thuvan is carrying this team on his shoulders. He's shouldering the responsibility of being the team's creative outlet, the main creative outlet. The fullbacks are very good at bombing forward and whipping them in. They're very physical and powerful and can actually whip an accurate cross. Lorenzo Lucca, everyone's praising Lucca now for Lucca and his headers, No, bro. If you listen to Serie A Spotlight, you know that Lucca has only recently started scoring headers consistently. It's a new thing for Lucca. Lucca has been very good with his feet. Despite his size,
his hold-up play, his positioning, his close ball control,
his intelligence, his ability to go down, win a foul. Yeah,
all of a sudden, all the commentators are raving about his headers because he's tall.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart.
But remember that we loved him first. Okay, Please remember that, guys. It means a lot to us. As for Parma, if only they had a plan B. Their plan A is phenomenal. They go out, they absolutely shock the other teams. They're dynamic. They've got tricks up their sleeves from set pieces. Dennis Mann and Mihaila have this perfect relationship where they're both Romanian. They both play for club and country. And Bonnie seems to be really happy over there playing with them country. Leary has fit in really well. Koulibaly plays perfectly, man. Bernabe
is excellent.
A really nice double pivot. They do everything really well at the beginning. However, when it's their turn to defend, they're a disaster. They're a disaster.
Because obviously in Serie B, they could defend these leads. Of course they can.
Yeah.
Simply by tossing their men back, and obviously they're playing against weaker opposition. But in Serie A, this is obviously a learning curve, and sometimes the worst thing you can do, and we saw this with Milan, is take an early lead. They went into half-time with the score of 2-0. You'd think that's a fantastic position to be in, of course, which it is. However, naturally, when it's their turn to defend, like you said, that's where they start struggling. And not only do they start struggling, but I think they end up being quite rash and panicky, which saw Suzuki get a red card in the last game, and which saw Keita get a red card in this one, by the way, just 20 minutes after coming on for Cancelleri. Yeah. And after that, and then there was a clear turning point. I think Udinese have a very no bullshit approach under Runjaic, which I really think. I always thought Udinese have to be a no bullshit team. They're very physical and they need to play to their advantages.
They've got a player. This is super unimportant, but they've got a player on their bench, a centre back who is taller than Lucca.
Fuck.
Yeah,
How tall is he, bro?
his name. 6'8", something like that.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway, I don't think he played though. He didn't play. We'll find out what his name is. But go on, bro.
No, that was my point.
Yes, they're totally no bullshit Udinese. And if you look at the way they started the season, it was a 1-1 draw to Bologna. Of course, they beat Avellino 4-0 in the cup. Then they beat Lazio 2-1. They beat Como 1-0, and now they've beaten Parma 3-2. Their next game is against Roma, and we'll see what they do over there. Then they've got the cup game against Salernitana. Then they've got quite a tough run-in where they play Inter, and then Lecce, then Milan, Cagliari, Venezia, Juve, and then Atalanta. So we'll see how they react to that.
That's quite a fucking tough run.
But yeah, we've seen Udinese do very well at the start of seasons before. There was two seasons ago,
with Sotil.
They had beaten Inter. They had smashed Inter, no?
They had beaten Inter. They had beaten Inter
3-0 or something like that.
Was it 3-0 against Inter,
It was a spanking, man. That's what I remember. But anyway,
something's happening here. Okay, he was offside.
As for Parma, man, I think they've gone ahead in every single game they've played. So they went ahead against Fiorentina, and then Fiorentina equalized after. So they got 1 point from that game. They went ahead against Milan by 2 goals. They conceded 1, managed to shut up shop. They got their only win there. Against Napoli, they were ahead. They lost their heads. Suzuki got sent off, and they lost. In this game, they were ahead by 2 goals. They lost their heads.
Madonna, man.
A guy got sent off, Keita. And it was already 2-2 when he got sent off. But then they conceded, of course, the third. But yeah.
But I think if you look at the stats as well of this game, Udinese were always in it. It's not like they were getting blown out of the water by Parma. It's just Parma are incredibly deadly. They've got players that can finish and players that can take their chances. In fact, if you look at the first half, Udinese had double the shots that Parma had.
That's true.
And then in the second half, Udinese's XG was that of 2, which probably means they could have scored more than they did. In the first half, Parma's XG, where they scored 2, was that of 0.5, whereas Udinese's was that of 0.6. So it was a tight encounter. Just Parma were a bit deadlier in the start. And then obviously they're not used to defending against Serie A teams.
And especially when you're a man down, it doesn't help at all. I feel like what Parma did brilliantly, and it's a very rare thing, it's a beautiful thing. They managed to keep most of their starters from Serie B. They invested, they promised a project, they managed to keep Dennis Mann, who was in Serie A the last time Parma were in Serie A. You know, they brought in Mahala from Atalanta, they brought in Boni, they brought in Bernabe, they invested in these players that would be good enough were they to get promoted. And that's the way you should look at it. You shouldn't look at, you know, let's sign Koda and and Tutino. Let's sign Koda and Tutino. We'll get promoted and then we'll sell them to another Serie B club and we'll bring in new guys for Serie A. We'll bring in fucking Lapadula, you know. It doesn't make much sense to do that. I like what they did. However, I think the back line needs some bolstering and maybe a defensive midfielder to come on to protect a lead would be nice as well.
That's what they need. Some Serie A experience to bring on. A bit of a hard man. A hard Serie A man to bring on.
And their defensive structure as well is so poor, man. That last goal, where was everyone? The keeper had been... He made so many saves.
It's 2-2. Where is everyone? Are they attacking? Are they trying to get a winner over there?
Exactly.
But I do like how well gelled the team is. They seem like they know each other as a result of what you said.
Yes. I really hope they don't get picked apart, and I hope they survive as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
They'll survive. They're better than...
We'll see, because we've seen teams start off really well and then slump because
especially
when teams are
serious money.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
You looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
I'll think
Naughty
about
cash.
It. That's a bad sign, when you throw leads early, you concede so much, you fail to get those points. It's a good sign that they managed to even get in that position, but it's a bit of a Di Francesco sign to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, you're up, bro.
I'm up with Como 2, Bologna 2. Como coming off a 1-0 away loss to Udinese. Of course, Como haven't yet found a victory. Whilst Bologna, who also haven't found a victory, even after the Champions League game against Shakhtar Donetsk, coming off a 1-1 home draw to Empoli. Both sides actually looking for their first win this season. Como finally got to play at the restructured Stadio Sinigalia, which is a gorgeous stadium overlooking, obviously, Como Lakes. Amazing.
Beautiful, huh? Beautiful stadium, beautiful vibes, beautiful atmosphere.
Yes, thank you. Varane and Barba were out of action, while Audero took over the gloves over Reina, thank God, to be honest. Bologna missed Cambiaghi, Home, Ferguson and El Azouzi, but also had to rest some players ahead of their Champions League opener with Shakhtar Donetsk. It was a 4-2-3-1 formation for Fabregas' men with Audero and goal and the backline of Jovine, Dossena, Kempf and Moreno, a double pivot of Sergio Roberto and Perrone, with Fadera, Nico Paz and Strefezza playing behind Cutrone. What the heck are you doing, bro? Pass from behind the camera, G.
Not all of us are camera trained, brother.
4-1-4-1 formation for Bologna with Skorupski in goal and a backline of Posch, Beukema, Chazale and Miranda. It was Freuler in the defensive midfield role with Orsolini out on the right, Odgaard out on the left and Abisher and Pobega playing behind Dallinga. Now Como took the lead within 5 minutes when Fadera set up Cutrone, whose cross deflected off Bologna defender Chazale and in for an own goal. 1-0 to Como. Cutrone was a constant threat in the first half, coming close on multiple occasions, including a lob after a pass from Nico Paz, which went just over the bar. Later on, Bologna thought they were awarded a penalty in first half stoppage time for a handball by Alberto Moreno, but it was revoked by VAR as the infringement occurred outside the box. Early in the second half, Cutrone scored a second goal, beating the offside trap, cutting inside Miranda and finishing into the far bottom corner. The match saw a 6-minute delay due to VAR communication issues while confirming this goal. That's two situations where the goal took way too long to be awarded, with Dovbyk and with Cutrone here as well. Pobega's shot hit the post, and shortly after, Castro got one back after finding himself in a good position. Castro inserted this energy into Bologna upon entry. It's just a shame he doesn't do that when he starts, but when he comes in, he could be really effective.
Right. He looked better than Dallinga to me.
Mm-hmm.
More involved.
In the 9 minutes of stoppage time, obviously because of the VAR check, Illing Jr., a substitute, received a pass from Castro and curled a left-footed shot into the top corner to complete the comeback and secure a point for Bologna. I'm going to say it again. Obviously, Illing Jr. heroic on his debut, whatever, good to see. But Bologna, honestly, it's getting. I know it's still 4 games in, but I am quite worried because I haven't seen much from them at all. They seem to struggle defensively a lot, and it just seems like a bit of an Orsolini and Inshallah at the moment. That's what they were doing all first half. Now, with that being said, Como in the first half had an incredible first half. They were bossing Bologna around pretty much because they were retaining possession effectively, and the way that they were dictating the tempo and hanging on to the ball was seriously impressive. And it's the first time I saw Fabregas' style being effective and not just pretty.
They were so good. I was particularly impressed with Nico Paz and Strefezza.
Yes.
Strefezza played really well, man.
Love
I think this
and
might have been one of the best Strefezza games I've seen, to be honest, when it comes to... I mean, I know he didn't score or anything, but his movement, the way he kept playing the balls through, the way he operated centrally especially, I was really impressed by him. Cutrone continues to prove that he's the leader of this team, right?
Yes,
which is
Bellotti on the bench.
Yeah, putting Bellotti on the bench, man, absolutely. Audero's coming.
Yes.
That's good news for them because Reina is on the older side, of course. And now these guys are starting to come in, and the likes of Moreno, Sergio Roberto playing in that double pivot over there. Dos Sena, even though everyone was raving about Varane, Dos Sena was the guy to be excited for, man. He's in his prime, he's excellent. He's a wall. He did get injured this game. I'm not sure if it's serious. I doubt it.
I'm not sure. I didn't read anything about it.
But yeah, I was very impressed by them in the first half. And the second half, bro, Bologna got into it, but it wasn't as a result of well-rehearsed
play or anything
maneuvers.
of the sort.
It was literally...
The first one was a deflected shot that fell directly to Castro, who fired it in. And the second one was a good moment by Illing Jr.
Exactly, a moment
who
of brilliance.
did what Orsolini failed to do for the entire match.
Exactly, and Orsolini kept trying to play... I think in the first half, what happened was the windy conditions of Como caught Bologna off guard. And Como is a very difficult place to play because of these conditions.
Okay.
Because they're right next to a lake. It's bloody windy and the stadium isn't massive.
My God, in fucking December, it's going to be cold.
In fact, yes, bro. Orsolini attempted in the first half 2 switches of play from the right wing to the left wing over
Looked
the
like
top.
he tried to shoot.
Honestly, man, Odegaard, you see him watching the ball, his head's doing this as it's coming towards him. He failed to control both of them. In fact, they had to change it up. They couldn't keep playing like that because of the conditions, of course. So I think Como, the more these players adapt to playing at the stadium, the more of a difficult outing they'll become, man.
For sure.
Because
it's like the hill at Newcastle.
Exactly. It's like the hill.
The hill.
Exactly. Oh, we're playing uphill in the second half, man. That's hilarious. So yeah, I guess that would play a factor. But Italiano does have to come up with a system, for sure, that will result in goals. It's been his problem since Fiorentina, and even Pobega hitting the post, that was a long-range effort. Like, they got closest from non-team maneuvers, essentially.
And the fact that they even failed to score against them, I even forgot who they played. Who did they play in the
Shakhtar
Champions League?
Donetsk.
Shakhtar Donetsk. It's looking quite bad at the moment for Bologna. Had an XG of 1.2. Once again, they always have a decent XG. They just struggle to score. I was particularly impressed because I've been particularly not impressed by this guy for some time. But Cutrone, so active, super active, always available. Milan used to use this guy like a walrus. Where Suso, the flick-on headers, always with the flick-on headers. Yeah. Hopefully there's someone at the far post, or hopefully they go in. Suso cuts in early, gives in those balls. That's how Cutrone was utilised. But Cutrone runs off the ball into space where he charges and goes directly for the one-on-ones, drops his shoulder one way and goes another. He looks alive Cutrone in this Como team.
Cutrone has goal scoring in his blood, bro, in his veins. When he was at Milan's Primavera, he had broken the record back then. So there's always someone at the Milan Primavera who makes the headlines. And Colombo had a goal every 30 minutes for the Milan Primavera. I remember that statistic. And now Camardo, of course. But yes, Cutrone is a striker who's kind of out of fashion nowadays because he doesn't give you the size or the athleticism, he's a pocher.
He's a good football player, man, as
exactly,
well. He gets
yes.
it.
He does. His movement is super. I think that's his strongest suit, is his movement. Absolutely.
And with smart players all around, that's what they have. They have a smart team, Como, with Sergio Roberto, smart player, Nico Paz, smart, Strefezza, smart, Cutrone, smart. Everyone's smart, pretty much. And again, I don't want to go through Bologna too much because it's kind of like, how long are we going to continue saying that an Italiano system struggles to get goals? Good for them that Como kind of attempted some element of a low block in the second half to hold on to their advantage, and they still managed to find 2 goals. But only when it's urgent. No, they'll never be like they struggle to take leads.
I think they just take too long, man. It's as simple as that sometimes, man. I feel like they take so long building up play that the entire team would be like two blocks of 4 and 2 men pressing them.
Exactly.
Like, play the ball around more quickly. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit too simplistic as an approach. Yeah.
Maybe. You're up, bro, unless you want to add something about this game.
No, I'm perfectly fine to move on to Torino.
We're over the 2-hour mark here, huh?
No problem. Let's keep it going for the listeners, bro.
Yes, sir.
For the diehards. We still have to talk about our bet.
Yes.
But it's interesting, huh? I think I agree with it.
I haven't seen it. What? Am I the only one that doesn't know?
Bro, do you read the Spotheads group chat? Torino 0, Lecce 0. Done. So Lecce,
Vanya save.
Vanya was incredible as always.
Incredible.
Vanya was in goal for Torino in their 3-5-2 formation with Voivoda, Saul Cocco and Massina at the back. Cocco is injured. Unfortunately, yes. Pedersen was on the right with Lazaro on the left. Ricci, Linetti and Illich formed the midfield trident with Duvan Zapata and Shea Adams up front. As for Lecce, it was Falcone in goal, Gallo, Baschirotto, Gaspar and Gilbert at the back. Gilbert
from St. Martin's.
Yes. Pierret and Ramadani in the double pivot with Ante Rebic playing on the left, Tete Morente playing on the right and Medon Berisha playing behind Kristovic in the pocket. Who is Medon Berisha? Medon Berisha is a Swiss trequartista who was brought into Lecce's youth team from Young Boys, previously playing at Bern.
Boys.
He's only 20 years old. He's 6'1", and he's made 6 appearances for Lecce so far. Turns out he was born in Switzerland, but he has actually represented the Albanian national team.
Oh, put that dog.
Shaqiri! Honestly, such a cool moment that. But anyway, controversial.
I fail to comment on political things.
Okay, Torino 0, Lecce 0. In the first half, Lecce focused on basically defending and sitting low and trying to hit on the counter. Their attacking trio of Morente, Berisha and Rebic created quite a few problems for Torino's defense. They generated 6 clear chances, yet Lecce were unable to convert these into goals. Torino, on the other hand, they struggled to break down Lecce's defense. Their build-up play was sluggish and predictable, and they couldn't really play the ball to their forwards, Zapata and Adams. In fact, if you look at the XG, Lecce had an XG of 1.6 in the whole game compared to Torino's 0.45.
Very interesting.
So Lecce were actually attacking the shit out of Torino this game, and creating a lot more chances.
Patrick Dorgu out, of course.
Exactly, yes. And Patrick Dorgu.
And Kaba.
And yes, Kaba and Banda and Gonzalez and Sansone, bro. Whereas Torino were missing Ilkan, Sava, Shures and Vlasic. So in the second half, Torino attempted to adjust their situation, their vulnerability by making substitutions, particularly to try to inject pace and physicality. They brought on Karamoh and Tameze, basically. They did not really alter the game's dynamics, though. Lecce continued to defend solidly and maintain their structure, stifling Torino's efforts constantly, basically. Torino didn't register a single shot on target in this half, and Lecce basically continued to defend, and Vanya continued to save their asses with a few spectacular saves and another Man of the Match award for his collection. So yes, nice to see Lecce going away from home against Torino and actually attacking and creating some solid chances.
That's what I'm
Very
saying.
unlike them. Gotti with his new game plan.
And Lecce had a tough start, obviously, to this campaign. They've recently, obviously, tough start to this campaign because they played Atalanta and Inter in their first two games, where they conceded a total of 6 and scored 0. They then beat Cagliari 1-0 while Dorgu was sent off, and then they really took the game to Torino. And this one clearly, they were the better team in this game. While Torino, if you look at their fortunes and how they've been doing thus far, naturally they started the season off with that 2-2 draw against Milan, where they were 2-0 up, showing us that look, they're here to fuck this season. Then they then beat Atalanta 2-1, showing us again they're fucking. So they're here to fuck, and then they're fucking. And then they go up against Venezia. Yes, they get the win, but Venezia suddenly looked like a good team against Torino, and you're like, okay. So Torino performed well against two of the best teams in the league, but now all of a sudden they're playing Venezia and they don't look great. Okay, but they got the win. They go up against Lecce, and it's the same thing. Lecce look like the better team. We're starting to see now these trends, these bonds, like it. Of course, it's just 4 games into the season, but we're seeing that Torino, when they play the big teams, they're driven and they go for it, and they press and they attack. But then against the smaller teams, it's almost like they're vulnerable.
But this could be what I alluded to earlier. It could be that you know exactly how the big teams are going to play against you, so it gives you a clear game plan and setup. Probably Torino went into this game expecting Lecce to
defend.
Totally defend, and I mean they did defend to a certain extent, but I don't think they expected them to be as adventurous going forward or as direct. But I think it's early to draw patterns like this, but I'm still very impressed by Torino. To be honest with you, I think that they've still had a brilliant start to the season and they're still on course. This was a game against a Lecce side that looked fucking inspired, man. To be honest with you,
they looked ready to go. Great performances all round.
And I'm taking a look at this Gulbert, who came in to replace, of course, Gendré. He's quite a seasoned player, 29 years old. He's represented the likes of Bordeaux, Aston Villa, Strasbourg. Okay. He's been around. Gulibert. Yeah, he has 1 cap for France at under 21 level.
Oh, huge. Yeah. What a moment for Gulbert.
What a moment for Gilbert. But do you have any more games?
No.
We're done. No. Holy shit.
This one did take long. There's a lot to talk about, especially after a week off. Wow. There was a lot to talk about. But let's jump to the betting segment.
Yes. The betting segment. That's our transition music.
And the McDonald's song. So that's
yes, by the way, Kefrem Thuram was wearing ducky underwear. Rubber ducky underwear. Interesting. So, yes, Alan's bet approved by
our
the patrons.
Patrons bet.
Yes. The third bet, I think, is the one that they eventually decided on. And it's the one, to be honest, I like the most. Let's read it out. So, he has Monza to beat Bologna at home.
Monza to beat Bologna at home.
So the odds for this are 3.1.
Ooh.
Alan says, what are they smoking? Bologna has dropped this year. They will focus on the Champions League and the players lack experience of a European midweek schedule. Besides, Monza drawing Fiorentina and Inter is not bad at all, even if their first 2 games were below expectations. I actually like this bet a lot. It's worth the risk. The odds are really good. Bologna did play midweek and Monza have looked impressive, and I think their confidence would be high right now.
It would be. Again, Monza with the week off, with the fresh legs. Again, like we said, guys, Monza did look much better this week than they looked the previous weeks. The one thing you can also do in this case is, of course, if those are the odds for a victory for Monza, then I'm sure the win or draw card isn't a terrible one if you want to put that as part of your slip, perhaps, to reduce the risk ever so slightly, because a win for Monza, totally achievable, and I would put a fiver on that because you return triple, with accumulator bonus and whatever. But if you want a safer slip, if you want to play it safer and play a slip, then that can be part of a very powerful slip.
Definitely. His other recommendations are interesting as well. He has Inter to beat Milan by 2 goals for 2.8 odds. And if you're feeling daring, 3 goals has an odds of 5.6, which is very possible.
That is a very good bet.
I don't see Fonseca sitting back at this game. I think there will be goals. I think Inter might put 3 past Milan.
I think Inter will definitely put 3 past Milan. I think if you look at what Inter excel at and what Milan suck at, and
it's
oh
a
my
match
god,
made in heaven for Inter.
Literally.
And then he has Roma to win with 2 goals for 2.75, banking hard on the players being eager to prove themselves. I'm not quite sure. Can you check that out?
Yep.
Many attacking players in similar positions who all want to get recognised. Dobbvik has opened his account. Udinese they're against looked bad in the first half against Parma. I was originally looking to bet on Roma to score on both halves, but my app didn't have that option. Fair enough. I'm not too sure about this
I think he placed this bet before De Rossi was sacked.
No, because he mentions that they'd be eager to impress the new coach.
Sorry.
Because it's a Juric team. I wouldn't bank on the goals. Granted, yes, they'd be frothing at the bit to impress him, but I think he'd also want to, cement his approach and make it clear that we're going to be defensively sound before anything else.
Of course, with a new manager, there could be that driven thing, but I think the best way to impress Juric perhaps is to hold your shape and to play almost a conservative game where you prioritize defense. I think even if you look at how Udinese have been performing this season, where they're never out of the game and they're a completely physical side, I think it's super tough for a team that hasn't quite yet gelled to blow them out of the water, because it's almost like they've got a superpower, this Udinese, which is just freak strength. So it's tough to go out and kill them, I think, and a 2-goal deficit sounds a bit tough.
It has the potential to be a cagey affair.
Yes.
I think so. I would go for the Monza bet, and to be honest, I'm gonna place it, bro.
I'm gonna place the Monza. I'm gonna place the I'm not betting on Inter to score 3 against Milan. I'm not gonna bet on. I'll never bet on Milan to lose. But I would recommend to you guys that you do what Alan said and do 2, if not 3, Inter to win by that amount. I think Inter to score that amount would be an interesting one as well, because I think Milan do have a certain firepower that could allow them to score against Inter.
Over 2 goals in the game and then Inter victory, maybe.
A total amount of goals in the game would be a good idea. Now, whether Inter score them all or not.
I've just opened my phone, bro, before we go. And Anto Vitiello has tweeted that Milan are in talks with Tuchel. Now that is an upgrade.
Tuchel is nice.
That's a tactician. That's a man who's obsessed with his opponent.
But I'm gonna vomit. This is too much. I'm overstimulated.
If Fonseca is replaced, someone needs to be held accountable for employing him in the first place.
100%. And I have to say, if Fonseca is replaced, I want to see someone from the top go with him. Because it's a bad decision made. So, as simple as that. Who appointed him?
I don't know. I guess it was a collective decision.
I'm not asking. It's a rhetorical question, bro. But what pointed him? Whoever it did, what they based it off, we've been through this 1,000 times, so I'm gonna go through it again. But it was based off this idea that they had, and it wasn't based off of what they saw in front of them, how they see his teams play. It doesn't seem like they analyzed him. It just seems like they had their own ideology. He fits.
He has a system that's similar to Pioli's. He isn't going to complain about transfers. He is a cheap alternative, and he's won at a certain level, you know.
Don't give me Terzic, don't give me Terzic.
No, I don't want Terzic.
I like Tuchel. He made the Champions League final.
Tuchel is
what is it with Milan and over romanticism? He made it to a Champions League
Milan
final.
hire coaches like Malta hire coaches.
Literally.
Oh, Davis Manja away. He kept Parma in Serie A in 19...
Davis Manja on his debut with Palermo beat Inter 4-2. Fabrizio Miccoli hat-trick.
There we go. Davis Manja was the best manager I think Malta have ever had.
Unfortunately, again, can't defend the guy.
Yes,
we don't know
whatever happened.
Exactly.
If you know, you know.
And
if you don't, DM us. We'll tell you.
Always.
When our Instagram's back.
No, you can DM us still. We'll see them when we have access.
We'll reply back.
Always with the Maltese players. I completely believe the Maltese players. You see, look with that smile. Always believe the Maltese players. They're one of us, bro. They're one of us. Support them. Fuck Davis Manja.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Serie A Spotlight. We've been your hosts, Jake
and Matt.
And remember to show us love on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Leave us a comment. We love seeing the comment notifications on our little YouTube creator app. You know, they come up. Yeah. Someone has commented. You go and you read it, and it's lovely. You know,
we'll live for this, guys.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We love you all. Ciao, ciao.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
The football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake?
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.